We're back.
We're back from what?
We're back from the last episode.
Oh, okay.
And this is a special episode.
Yeah, because it's a book club.
It's a book club. Mrs. P's book club.
The best book club.
For all the new listeners, what does that mean?
It means I read a book.
Yep.
And I'm going to try to explain this book to Alex.
Yep.
The best I can.
Yep.
This is also a warning. I am going to spoil this book.
Yes.
I have taken detailed notes, and I'm going to try to get him to understand and maybe even like it.
That's that last part's not going to happen.
It could happen.
However, there is an extra special, different theme for this one.
Yeah.
I'm telling you of Mrs. P's book club. Book club, book club, book club, book club. Please support your local library. And remember to smile, folks.
It's a big smile I had.
Thank you. His name was Dusk. So that's right.
I gave you my brunch smile.
You gave the brunch smile. That's true.
It's with a lot of teeth.
Yeah. And so for our guys who are listening, you're like, hey, I heard different voices before this podcast started. Yeah, we have ads on now.
Oh, right.
So we do want to mention that. We do have ads on. Before, where you'd hear usual page turns.
Yep.
Which is what we call them during the book club.
Yep.
Before you hear those little theme songs and all those things, there's going to be a slight ad. If you don't want to hear the ads, you can sign up for the Patreon, $3 for the Hey Hun tier. You'll get a shout out on the podcast. For $5, you can actually vote in the polls. And right now, Mrs. P has a poll up.
I have a poll live.
It's live for all the team leads.
People that I could do research on and then do episodes on and upset you with their information.
That's true.
Yeah.
But not always. We're not always just trying to upset each other. Sometimes it's very interesting things.
I think I have been getting this podcast wrong the whole time.
I think you have been. Because sometimes you do tell me things that are actually insanely interesting.
Yeah, that's true. Well, this book is super interesting. Also, we need to shout out the libraries real quick.
Oh, yeah. What's your library?
Shout out to the libraries.
What's your library shout out this week?
Okay, I got library shout outs. Let me think. Okay, so I saw that one of the local libraries near us is doing a puzzle swap.
Ooh.
Which I thought was super cute. For all the puzzle pals, that's what they're going to call it right now. If you like finished a puzzle and then you didn't want to hodgepodge it and frame it, you just put it together back in the box, and then you go to the puzzle swap at the library and then get somebody else's puzzle they completed. Yeah. And it looks super cute when I saw it posted on the internet. And
That's
I was like,
really cool. Yeah.
And we don't really have puzzles because cats always steal the puzzle pieces.
That's true. And also, sometimes my ADD goes too far.
Sometimes. And then the other thing I saw, and you'll love this, is that our library posted that they have, you can check this out. It's called the bird watching bag. And it's a backpack. And it's filled with binoculars, bird guides, local trail maps, compasses, and other like informational packets about bird watching. Ooh. And so you can actually check out the backpack for a week and then like just go bird watching.
For a week?
Yeah.
They're like, here's a week-long backpack? I feel like that should be a day pass.
I mean, no, that's like for a week.
No, I know. That's crazy, though. That's pretty awesome, though.
I know. It's so cute, though.
You did finally turn me on again, and we've mentioned on the podcast. You were like, I was talking about going to a local museum.
Yep.
And you were like, did you check the library website to see if they're free? And I was like, what are you talking about? And then we sat down and went to the library website.
I walked him through the library website.
And you showed me, like a child, of how to actually use the library's website. And how I could get tickets like the Philadelphia Art Museum, Longwood Gardens. There was a bunch of different places around
all
here.
the museums, really.
Yeah, it's most of the museums.
And they just got some for New York City, too.
Yeah.
So if you want to trip up there.
And which never. Fuck New York. Fuck the Mets.
Wow.
Go Birds.
Okay, you're on the wrong podcast.
Go Birds, go Phillies, go Unions, go Flyers, go Sixers.
Go everybody.
Go everyone that isn't New York City.
Facts.
All right.
Big facts.
And also, I've looked at our analytics. We do not have that many New York City listeners. Most of our listeners drive in their commute. That is not a New York City thing. But anyway, you're about to hear commercials.
Okay.
One.
All right.
You'll hear a small commercial. It'll be like 30 seconds. If you don't want to hear those, like I said, you can go click the link in the show notes and you can join our Patreon. And through the Patreon, there is access to a ad-free feed.
Yep.
Or you can listen to them directly through the Patreon app itself.
Okay, press the button so we can get started.
Okay, fine.
Yay.
Pearlmania, 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 Pearlmania 500.
All right, it's time for the book.
We're ready. Okay, so hold on, let me sip of water real quick. So this book I got is called Hide. I'm holding it. I'm showing it to him. It's called Hide.
Yep.
Written by Keirsten White. I assume that's how you say Keirsten, right?
Yeah, that's a Keirsten.
That feels like
We've
a
gone
Keirsten.
through a Kirstens before.
Yeah.
This is definitely
this
a Keirsten.
looks like a strong Keirsten.
It's a K-I-E-R-S-T. Yeah, Keirsten.
Okay.
Yeah.
So Keirsten White. Now I'm gonna read you the back of the book.
Okay.
Because I like to read the back of the book so we can understand what I thought I was getting into.
Okay.
Okay.
And the book is called Hide.
Hide. And it's got a picture of a fucked up Ferris wheel in the front.
You know what's funny is every time I saw you read,
Ferris wheel.
it's fine.
I said Ferris wheel.
I was letting it go. I wasn't. I'm actually working on myself not correcting you on every word.
Oh, okay, I appreciate
like the way
that.
you say guillotine. So anyway, while I saw you reading this, I kept thinking it was called Hilda.
Oh,
Because of the way, just the color of the book and the
Yeah.
book cover and all those things, I kept thinking it said Hilde. And I was like, all right, well, I guess she's reading some weird German book. And it's like called Hide.
Hide.
Yeah, so what's it about?
So it says, the challenge. Spend a week hiding in an abandoned amusement park and don't get caught. The prize, enough money to change everything. Even though everyone is desperate to win, to seize a dream future or escape a haunting past, Mac is sure she can beat the competitors. All she has to do is hide, and she is an expert at that. It's the reason she's alive, and her family isn't. But as the people around her begin disappearing one by one, Mac realizes that this competition is even more sinister than she had imagined, and that together might be the only way to survive. 14 competitors, 7 days, everywhere to hide but nowhere to run.
So it's Hunger Games, but hide and seek. It's Scooby-Doo Hunger Games.
Yeah, Scooby-Doo Hunger Games. That's a good way.
Okay.
That's the way I kind of framed it in my
yeah.
mind.
That's what you're describing to me.
And so,
It's
I want to
Scooby-Doo
say
Hunger
something.
Games. Okay.
This book is kind of thin. It's a little book.
It's not a thick book.
When I got this book, I said, this is going to be a quick read. I'm going to be able to quickly read this book and get a book club episode out on the podcast.
Yeah, and the font's not crazy.
No, it's not crazy.
It's a quality paperback.
Here's the situation, and I should have just read it out loud. There are 14 competitors.
Yeah.
So there are 14 characters in this book.
Oh no.
So there's a lot to go over because we have the main character, Mac, who we've been introduced to from the back of the book.
Okay.
But there's a lot of info because we've got 14 competitors. And so you get a lot of perspectives in this book. So I did have to take a lot of notes.
Oh no.
Yeah, so that we're gonna get through this together. Our marriage is gonna be stronger.
I don't know if that's true.
Yep. We're gonna hold hands at the end of this.
You know what? Let's just take another commercial break.
No, stop hitting the commercial break button.
But now that I have a button that just prints money, I want to hit the button.
Alex,
What?
Come on.
All right.
Okay, so the book opens and we're at the amusement park.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, of course. You know what? Honestly, fair. I'm already happy about one thing.
What?
Because all the other previous books you started at, they usually don't start at the place where everything happens.
Yeah.
They always have to spend 20 minutes or the equivalent of like 6 chapters to get to the amusement park.
Yeah, so we're in the amusement park.
Already in it.
The book is opening in the amusement park. The park was opened in the 1950s and was super popular.
In the 1950s.
Yeah, people were big into it.
So it's a racist amusement park.
All right. So the park has a big whites only sign entering the
I
park.
fucking called it. Did I not fucking? How did I? That was a joke. You're kidding me though.
No,
you're not kidding me.
I'm not kidding you.
Oh my god.
And again, because this is we're in a flashback right now. So this is
Okay.
the 1950s.
Oh, we're in the 50s. Now I'm mad.
I gotcha. So we're entering the park, and what happens is they're kind of like going through the time of like from the 50s to the 70s, right? And it's kind of like they're writing a montage scene, and when they can't have the whites only sign anymore, it's heavily implied when they're no longer allowed to have signs. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Okay. So
Civil rights happens.
yeah, civil rights happens, and the amusement park is upset about it.
Okay.
Okay.
Because it's a very racist amusement park.
You're just gonna need that information.
No, I get it.
That's why I'm saying it.
All right, I understand.
So the
Scooby-Doo.
best.
What? Listen, have you ever noticed that all of the ghosts in Scooby-Doo a little clanny?
Well, once they pull the white hood off.
I know.
You're like, oh, it's your next door neighbor.
Oh, no,
Should've
it's a
known.
congressman.
Oh, no, it's a cop. Oops.
Up.
So,
The cop pulled the mask off himself.
I bet there's an episode.
There has to be.
They killed Mama Cass. Come on.
Who did?
No, she didn't die in that episode. But
She
they
didn't
did
die
make
in the
fun of her a
episode.
lot.
What, Mama Cass?
In the Scooby-Doo episode with Mama Cass in it.
I have to
They
rewatch
made fun
it.
of her a lot. It's
Do
not
they?
nice.
Well, I think.
Okay, so anyway, we are off track already, and we haven't even got to the 70s yet.
Oh my God! All right, let's get past civil rights.
So let's get past civil rights.
Well, no, okay, not past. Let's get over it.
No, Alex.
What?
So the best day, the best day at the amusement park was actually 1 week. Every 7 years, the park would do 1 week free for they would just open the gates and everybody come in for that 1 week. Everybody was welcome.
So
right?
real quick, it's an amusement park, not a carnival.
It's an amusement park.
Okay, gotcha.
Solid stays there year round.
Gotcha. So this is like a Knott's Berry Farm type of feel.
Yeah. Mhm.
Okay, gotcha.
Can we go to Knott's Berry Farm? I would love to go there. Okay, so
Dollywood House.
I know it is, but Knott's Berry Farm is really cool too. Not as cool as Dollywood though. Everyone would go when they opened for this free week.
Yeah.
Everyone from all around. If
Yeah.
you could get there, you were going. And so that meant that even like people that were incredibly poverty stricken, immigrant workers, the wealthy townsfolk who wanted to stay wealthy by not paying for nothing, everybody went. Okay, because this free week was the coolest.
Yeah.
So in 1974, during the free week, a fancy businessman from upstate decided to bring his family, his wife and 2 kids, and they hadn't been invited to be a part of the business of the amusement park, but he knew that a cousin of a cousin owned the park, and he wanted to see and visit the park in person to see if it was like a good investment. So
Okay.
he went there, like he's taking his wife and kids, but he also was like, I want to check this place out to see if I could like maybe buy into it if it looks like it's really, worthwhile.
But more importantly, he's also now able to write off the mileage.
That exactly.
He's like, I'm writing this shit off. Every corn dog that little Timmy buys, I'm keeping that receipt.
Yep.
Okay.
Keep the receipts. So this is why he's going. A little girl who was 5, who was his daughter, disappeared in the park and was never found.
That was the weirdest way to
I apologize.
say a little girl.
I
Who was 5.
wrote it very oddly in my notes,
Yeah.
and that's my fault.
Okay.
So yeah,
So a 5-year-old goes missing.
His 5-year-old daughter goes missing in the
And
park.
this isn't Disney World, so they don't have great security.
No, not great security.
Because that happens a lot at Disney World. They just have insanely good security.
Yeah, like creepy
Yeah.
facial recognition.
Yeah,
security.
it's real crazy stuff.
So a migrant worker was arrested for her murder,
Oh, that's not fun.
and the park was closed very soon after that because of all the bad press.
Did they find her body, or they never found
Never
her body?
found her.
They never found
Never
her body,
found her.
but they blamed a migrant
They
for her.
blamed a migrant worker who happened to be at the free pass week.
Yep.
And the park ended up going out of business because of all the bad press.
Did the dad ever invest?
I don't. You know what? I feel like he didn't. I feel like maybe he was like bad investment.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah, they killed my daughter.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Not going to put money in here.
It did go out of business afterwards. So you think maybe he just went the other way and like went after them. Like,
But it's not clear. It's not in the writing.
It's not
okay.
clear.
So in our head canon,
In our headcanon.
he can do whatever he wants.
So the park is now abandoned. Okay.
Okay.
Ivy, trees. The rides are all rusty.
Yeah.
There's in the center of the park is like a real kind of creepy building, just like kind of a house. but
There's
not.
a vape shop.
It's a vape shop.
There's definitely a vape
And-
shop. I picture a rundown amusement park, a vape shop, and a place that only sells Trump shirts.
Yeah.
Like that's just on the end of
No.
this weird strip mall.
It's
that is also an amusement park.
It's definitely described as like an amusement park that's kind of like out in like the country almost.
Yeah, I get what you mean.
So there's no, and also it closed in the 70s, so they don't have vape shops yet. They're not lucky like we are to have vape
Oh,
shops.
okay, yeah, because vape shops will keep any strip mall alive.
Yeah, even I was driving to work recently,
Yeah.
and I saw 3 vape shops next to each other.
It was like vape shop, vape shop, vape
Yeah,
shop.
and then the next one was a CBD shop, and I was like, guys,
Wow,
I feel like
you could merge.
I feel like we need to like really diversify our portfolios.
Yeah,
Okay, so park's abandoned. There's, it's just like it's overgrown. Everything's rusted and broken.
and it's
Blah,
like
blah.
and it's like 70s, 80s like abandoned
Yeah.
too, which is scarier
Yeah.
than later ones because it's like the corners are a little bit more rusty.
Yeah, there wasn't any
There's
safety
a lot more. Yeah,
measures.
there's a lot more tetanus around.
Yeah.
You know, you're like, oh, it's a little bit extra seedy.
Yeah.
The spray paint art isn't as good.
Yeah.
Because even like, you know what I mean? So it's like,
oh my God, look at you.
Well, you know,
I know. I'm just saying, like, you just said something that like you didn't need to say, but it was good.
Oh, did?
Yeah.
You're proud of me?
No, in like a way that like you're calling ahead to something that you don't realize you're calling ahead to.
Oh.
Yeah, good job.
Okay.
Okay, so then something else. Again, this is in like the storybook we're painting in our head.
Okay.
Is there's all these topiaries that are like they used to be beautiful topiaries, obviously well taken care of, and in them it's very clear that a little maybe like 5-year-old girl's little shoe was in a bush. And then it grew into the bush. So like as the bush got higher and the topiary like grew out, the bush is now, the shoe is now at eye level. But the shoe is like still in the growth, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, I get it.
And that's how we're going to close the chapter is we see that there's this little girl's shoe that's grown for, 30 years.
And that's the evidence that the migrant didn't do it.
Yeah, exactly.
And now it's what, 2000?
We're at 2023, babes.
Oh, it's today.
We're here.
Do they say straight up it's today?
2023. I know because there's a lot of like there's a lot of banter that happens.
Yeah.
I was like, wait, what? And I was like, you would have to know what's happening after a pandemic in America for that joke to make sense.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, okay, so it's set in 2023.
Yeah, because I did double check while you were describing this just at the very beginning. I wanted to see what the copyright date was.
Yeah.
Because it was very, very recently published.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're gonna.
And this is the second edition you're reading from.
Oh yeah, I saw the first edition when I was looking up pictures, and it was cool. It had like a picture of like a amusement park, like this scary haunted kind of devil teeth where the roller coaster would go in its mouth.
Oh yeah.
So this one is a little bit creepier.
I like this one. I like this cover.
So
all right,
we're gonna open up. We're gonna start the story now. We're introducing our main character. Her name's Mackenzie, but she goes by Mac for short.
Mackenzie?
Yeah, her name is Mackenzie, but she goes by Mac.
Do you think there's a Y in that Mackenzie?
No, it's spelled Mackenzie. Mackenzie.
Oh, see, I thought where they said the E-N and the Ken, I was like K-Y-N, then she'd be Mormon.
Okay. Anyway.
Mackenzie.
So Mac is currently living in a homeless shelter for women.
Okay, well, great.
She's, as we meet her, she's sitting in the manager's office for the shelter.
Okay.
And the manager is like very much one of those like fake perky, fake happy people. And she's just like so excited to help Mac right now. And she's letting her know that like maybe her time staying in the shelter is coming to an end.
They can do that?
You know? Oh, yeah.
Okay.
And of course, she's like super sympathetic about everything Mac's been through. But like maybe Mac really needs to focus on moving forward and not looking at the past, just like bootstrap it up.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the manager tells her
the forward where you will be sleeping on the street, not the past where you had a bed.
Yeah, exactly. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So the manager tells her that she just got a letter in the mail and she's been notified of an incredible opportunity for growth for Mac.
Wait, that is not the way. Is that actually how it's phrased?
No, she's like, You got this thing. But it's like the way that she talks is like, it's an incredible opportunity for growth.
Okay.
And she feels like Mac is going to be a really good fit for it. So she pulls out this big manila envelope and she hands it to Mac and she's like, you have to read this. And so when she opens the envelope, there's a flyer and it says, Ali Ali Oxenfree, the hide and seek tournament. And the manager is like, you're smart, you're young, you're not a criminal or an addict. You shouldn't be here. And then my brain is like, are you implying that the other women should be there? Like what a fucked up thing to say.
Yeah.
And so this lady's trying to convince her that she should do this hide and seek tournament because it's being run by this extreme sports company called Ox Extreme Sports. And the winner of the hide and seek tournament gets $50,000.
Okay.
Which obviously for someone living in a homeless shelter would be life-changing.
Yes.
And Mac is in immediate shock. And like the shock that we're describing is like freezes, starts disassociating, eyes are glazed over. Like she is so disturbed because she's like, why would this woman suggest this to me?
Hey, I have an idea. Do you not want to be homeless anymore? Mm-hmm. What if you let someone hunt you for sport?
So
that's literally what she's saying to her.
She starts panicking a bit and she's like, I got to get out of this room. She's like, I got to get out of here.
I get that.
The walls are closing in on her and shit.
Yeah.
So Mac is like, listen, I got to think about this. And the manager's like, oh my God, yeah, of course, take your time. But like, definitely let me know by tomorrow. And so Mac is leaving the manager's office and she goes up back to her room, which is like not her own room. It's like cots in a shelter, that kind of thing.
I pictured it with the whatchamacallit, bunk beds and stuff like that.
And so she's, the Mac is describing it to us in the book, and it's like, it's not a place that lets you feel like you live there. Like, you're definitely a visitor. Like, there's no lockers, no shelves, no rooms with doors. Like, this is an open area, and you get what you get, right? And so she had a duffel bag with all of her personal belongings on top of the cot that she was sleeping on. And it's gone. And so she knows that if she goes to management and is like, listen, I need my things back because they must have like swept the room, they're going to label her as a troublemaker and put her out in the street. Because like that's a thing that she knew that they did. So she has no option. She has nothing to her name, literally.
Yeah.
This woman wants her out in 24 hours. And so she just goes back into the manager's office, literally like right away, and agrees to go play the hide and seek game. Because in her mind, at least she's going to have 3 meals provided and somewhere to sleep. Like at the end of the day for her, she's like, well, 3 hots and a cot. And maybe I could win $50,000.
At least I'll have a place to stay for 7 days.
Yeah, at least 7 days. Exactly. So we then cut from the scene with this shitty person, not Mac, the manager of the homeless shelter. And we're going to start meeting the other 13 competitors.
Oh my God. Okay.
Okay. So I'm going to list them as their title, and then we can get into their names later. So we have a social media fitness model.
Oh, wow.
A graffiti artist.
Hey.
A YouTube prank show host.
I want him dead.
An app developer.
Okay. Worthless.
A jewelry designer.
Okay.
A CrossFit instructor.
That's the same as the social media person. That's like the influence, like a CrossFit instructor and an Instagram butt model are the same person. But go ahead.
An actress.
Okay.
A writer.
Worthless.
A person we're going to describe as a lost boy.
A lost boy?
A lost boy.
So he's a vampire?
He has a killer mullet and a leather jacket.
Shut up, does he?
No.
Ah.
No, that'd be so cool though.
All right.
And then this description: the kindest gas station attendant in Pocatello, Idaho.
Do it again.
Okay. The kindest gas station attendant in Pocatello, Idaho.
Okay.
Okay, that's his description.
Yeah.
A veteran.
Okay.
A solar panel salesman.
Okay, worthless. I know like so many of them, and like every single one of them are just like, oh man, I don't know why I'm here.
An intern.
Okay.
And Mac, our lead character.
Oh my God.
These are the 14
does that
people?
mean that whoever was filling this out their bracket was like, get me a unhoused?
Yeah.
It's so
up.
crazy.
Oh no. So Mac is put on a bus and driven for 17 hours and then dropped off in basically the middle of fucking nowhere on the side of the road.
Okay.
She's given a duffel bag of supplies from Ox Extreme Sports, and it's got like their logos. It's got like a water. No, it doesn't have a water bottle. It's got like
It concerns me that you cut yourself off. Like, it doesn't have a water bottle. I'm so, because one thing I've automatically realized, I'm like, oh, they're playing hide and seek for 7 days, and they're like, and she's like, well, I'll get free meals. And I'm like, wait, they never said meals. And now you're like, there's no water. I'm like, now I'm concerned.
Oh, so it's got like first aid supplies in it or whatever.
Yeah.
But it doesn't have like any instructions or like anything like to let her know what's going on.
If you need instructions.
Okay.
On how to play hide and seek.
No. But I mean, like, you just got on a bus and they dropped you off in the middle of nowhere with no instructions on who's coming to pick you up, what time, blah, blah.
She's literally, they just an empty field.
Yeah, they just put her on the side of the road.
Oh, wow.
And
okay.
so about an hour later, she's standing on the side of the road. There's a little bit of tree coverage that she's kind of like trying to force her way into the shade.
Yeah.
But there's not a lot. An hour later, a different bus shows up and drops off 2 more people. 2 ladies and a young man. The first lady is gorgeous. She's all done up, hair, makeup, the whole 9. And the other lady has a buzz cut and like cargo pants and like a tight tank top.
Okay.
And then a young man is with them who looks very lost and afraid.
Gotcha.
Okay, so
Is that the Lost Boy?
it's the Lost Boy.
I have a question real quick, just
Yeah.
because you went down the 13 descriptions.
Yeah,
I didn't hear bisexual scientist among any of them.
I know. I don't.
And I'm really upset.
I don't.
You found a
I
book with
can't-
no bisexual scientists?
I'm going to say I don't know for sure because we don't know everybody's sexuality in the book. There's a lot of characters,
Okay.
but I don't recall a bisexual scientist.
Okay,
being
well then I
brought
have to
up.
hit this button. Bisexual scientist guarantee.
Wow. I don't like that that's a button you've just made up. What about the representation for the bisexual scientists?
Well, we don't have any. That's what
we
you
do.
just said.
We have people that listen that are bisexual scientists.
I know, I
They're the
understand that.
coolest.
I'm saying, though, in this episode now,
Oh,
you just
okay.
guaranteed that there are none.
I was probably wrong though. So, okay. So the ladies introduce themselves to Mac. And here's a fun fact. They're both named Ava. They're like, I'm Ava and I'm Ava. We found this out on the bus together. So in Mac's internal dialogue, we got beautiful Ava and buzzcut Ava. Or
Okay.
just Ava.
Okay.
So like as the story goes on, beautiful Ava and then just Ava or buzzcut Ava.
Okay. So what are their jobs?
Well, beautiful Ava is the fitness influencer and buzzcut Ava is the veteran.
Gotcha.
Okay. So we find out the name of the guy, the Lost Boy. His name is Legrand. I think that's his last name, Legrand,
Okay.
but that's all we know about him. And he hasn't made eye contact with anyone. The ladies that were on the bus were like, he hasn't spoken
Because
to
he's
us.
a vampire.
They just assume he's like intimidated by women. And so they're just like, we don't understand. But he like literally walks off the bus and goes and stands in a corner away from them. Like doesn't want to be near them, looks nervous.
Because he's a vampire.
Maybe he is a vampire.
Or maybe he's just an incel.
This is a lot to put on a guy who just can't hold eye contact right now.
Okay. Well, I mean, I'm just saying, like, you've been put on a mysterious bus and you've been dropped off in the middle of a field with 3 random women and you can't hold a conversation? You got a lot to talk about right there, bud.
Yeah, a lot of thoughts.
Yo, are we about to be murdered? No? Hey, how much they promise money you guys?
Yeah, you got to start talking salary immediately.
Yeah, immediately. Just talk something.
Talk union, talk salary immediately. Day one.
Listen, this sounds like a reality show, all right? And his goal is to not make alliances?
False. You got to make
That's
alliances.
the fastest way to get knocked off the show.
So the Avas, both of them, try to make friends with Mac.
Okay.
They're trying to be very cordial and polite, but Mac, who, again, we're talking about a person who's experiencing homelessness, has clear trust issues, is very off-put by them just because she doesn't want to make friends with anyone because she doesn't trust anyone because she lives on the street. And so she literally tells them both to fuck off.
Yeah.
They're like, hi. And she's like, fuck off. And like, she just walks away. She doesn't want to deal with them. More vans show up over the course of many hours. So they have been out there a long time.
Okay.
They drop off the rest of the competitors. As more and more people show up, everyone is fucking miserable. Okay,
Yeah.
so they're all real bitey. They all got bad attitudes.
Yeah.
Because they're all hungry. They're all thirsty. The sun is hot, beating down on them. They have no cell phone reception. So, of course, like the Instagrammers are all upset. Eventually, at sundown, a van shows up. Okay, like a big van.
Okay.
And there's this hostess lady who's like in the front of the van. And she comes out and she, very apologetic, profusely apologizing, gives everybody sandwiches and water. And she's like super excited to greet them. She's so happy. She's like, oh my God, I'm so welcome to see you. We're so excited. Come on the bus, have a sit. And so everybody just gets on. They eat their sandwiches. They, sit down. They relax.
Welcome to the 75th annual hiding games. Sorry, I need to work in this echo at least once per episode.
Once per episode to make it worth it.
Now that I know it's here, it's been here the whole time. I got to catch up.
Yeah.
I might do it again later.
That's fine. I can think of a few options where it would come up, so don't worry.
Okay.
Okay, so Mac goes to the back of the bus because she's, again, leave me alone.
Yep.
But Buzzcut Ava just comes back and sits next to her. Because Buzzcut Ava just, I think, generally at this point, just like gets her vibe.
Yeah,
She's like, yeah, fuck off. I get that. And so,
but also Buzzcut Ava is a veteran, so has experience with people with PTSD. Because clearly Mac has PTSD about something.
Exactly. And so she's like, yeah, it's okay. I'll sit next to you quietly.
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. I feel like Buzzcut Ava is like sitting in between also like to protect. So in case somebody tries to get too close.
Yeah.
Be like, hey, listen, let's not have an incident here. Because this one This one's going through some stuff.
It's wild goose over here.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Meanwhile, nobody gives a fuck about Legrand, the lost boy. He's over in the corner just like, these females with their jobs.
So
I wonder if they've been reliant with the IRS, if they've been truthful.
Why are you doing a Conan O'Brien voice?
I'm gonna report the Instagram models to the IRS.
So everyone on the bus falls asleep as they're driving because it's a long drive. They all fall asleep.
Or maybe they've been secretly gassed.
So while they're all asleep, the hostess lady, she's walking up and down the aisles silently, and she's touching everyone's forehead. She's like going up to each person and touching their forehead gently with her thumb. It could look like, to an outside observer, maybe she's blessing them. Maybe. Or she's just like touching their foreheads to see that they're asleep or whatever.
Yeah.
Okay, but it's sweet.
But how do we know this?
We are told this by just the book itself.
By the omniscient narrator.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
not by Mac.
Mac's asleep, dude.
That's crazy that Mac would be asleep and that someone could touch her on the forehead and she wouldn't react.
Yeah.
I just want to throw out, that's weird.
Yeah.
Okay.
So while they're asleep, again, the narrator is going to introduce us to the other competitors. Okay. So Jaden, his name's Jaden. He's the CrossFit guy.
Okay.
He had sat next to Pretty Ava, the Instagram model. So you did call that because they are the same.
They're the same person.
The same person.
Yeah.
Different font. Ian is the writer who fell asleep with his notebook on his lap. Brandon, who
a cliche.
Brandon works at the gas station.
Okay.
And he is like a golden retriever. Like he's just so fucking happy.
Brandon or Brendan?
Brandon.
Yep.
Brandon, he's the guy from Idaho.
Brendan's a little spicy. Brandon's
not spicy.
Not spicy.
Vanilla.
Yeah. We probably have a Patreon name. Somebody is sitting there like, gonna go ahead and knock out. I'm not paying them the $3 anymore.
Right. So the next guy, the guy sitting next to him, his name is Atreus, and I'm going to keep pronouncing this wrong. I apologize.
Yeah.
In advance. Atreus. He is the person who does the tags, like Banksy.
Yeah, graphic spray paint artist.
Spray paint guy. Okay, so that's Atreus. His real name is Kyle.
Vandal.
His real name is Kyle.
Oh, his real name's Kyle.
But he goes by Atreus.
All right, well now I hate him.
Yeah.
Okay.
There is Christian, who I believe, wait, let me see something. I think Christian is the solar panel salesman.
Yeah, that tracks.
And he is super excited about being on this whole thing because he wants to use it as an opportunity to network and find new contacts. So I think that explains everything.
I feel like that means that he's like 27 and in sales. Do you know what I mean? Because like that 27 in sales is right at that age where you want, like, you're like shit or get off the pot. So you either really want to be good at your job, or you have come to the realization that they're all the same.
You want to get the hell out.
Or just that they're all the same and it doesn't matter how hard you work because you're going to be stuck in the same exact spot.
Yeah.
And working really hard, it's just going to make you your boss. And why would you want to be that?
Gross. So anyway, the YouTube prankster's name is Sydney. And she sat next to the app developer whose name is Logan. Okay. Rebecca fell asleep clutching her EpiPen. She wants to win the $50,000 to get money to get a new boob job.
Okay. I feel like the foreshadowing of the EpiPen.
Well, yeah, it does come up that she has like severe food allergies.
Okay.
And so like she was just like clutching it because she was afraid of those sandwiches.
Okay.
Rosie is hoping to win the money to invest in her jewelry company. So she's the jewelry maker. Isabel wants to meet the Ox executive team because she wants a job and is tired of being a fucking intern.
Gotcha.
Okay, so that's everybody.
Wait, is she an intern at Ox?
No, she's just an intern. But like she thinks that like this could be her opportunity to meet somebody from Ox Sports and then get a real job with a salary.
Gotcha.
So they all wake up hours later. We're assuming hours later, actually.
Okay.
The bus is stopped and everybody kind of, you know that feeling when like the car stops so you wake up?
Yeah.
So everybody like thinks they're like, oh, the bus stop. They all just that like, ooh, coming awake thing. And that they think that's why, but actually they've been asleep on the bus for a while. It's been parked, which is something we need to know.
Okay.
Because while the bus was parked, stranger dangers were getting on and off of the bus. They came on quietly and reviewed all the name tags, checked IDs, looked through the belongings, checked for weapons. They never woke up anyone, and they never left a trace that they were there. But they all kind of came on the bus and then got off before they woke up.
Okay.
When they wake up, everybody, of course, grabs for their phones to check their phones, and there's no service. And they all start whining about how there's no service because they want to check their social media or their email or their LinkedIn or et cetera, et cetera. And somebody brings up that, like, you can't post anything anyway because we all signed that thick ass NDA. So they're like, they start talking about the NDA, like the people on the bus start talking about it. Everyone except for Shaved Head Ava, because Shaved Head Ava is fucking pissed and she's fucking suspicious because she has stayed awake for a week before while in different countries during war. And she has never fallen asleep on a fucking bus ride ever, especially when she's in an uncomfortable situation.
Yeah.
So she's immediately suspicious, and she goes digging in her bag to try to find the water bottles that they were given because she immediately suspects they were drugged to go to sleep. And all the water bottles are gone. So like when those strangers came in, they must have taken off the trash from the sandwiches and the water bottles.
Yeah.
And so her right away, she is in like alert, red flag.
Yeah.
Buzzcut Ava is on alert. Okay, she doesn't like that this happened. Nobody knows where they are. So they're all kind of like, where are we at?
Yeah.
And the hostess lady is back. Her name's Linda. She introduced herself. Her name's Linda.
Linda.
Hello. No, she's an older lady.
Hello, I'm Linda.
She's described as wearing like a pale turquoise 2-piece dress suits with light bright red lipstick that's kind of like going into the lines of her lips. And, you know, like a very kind of like old Southern style woman. Like that's how she's described.
Hello, y'all. I'm Linda.
Yeah. And she welcomes to the
y'all
town.
ever been hunted for sport at a racist amusement park before?
She welcomes them all to the town of Asteron.
Asteron?
I'm going to spell it. Asteron. Asteron. Asterion? I just said Asteron in my head.
That's fine. Yeah, but ION is eon.
Sure.
So that's fine. You know, you call it whatever you want. I'm already checked out emotionally.
They let them all off the bus because they're parked outside of a diner. And so they're all going to go in and eat.
Yeah.
And Linda makes it clear, like, order whatever the fuck you want. We're going to pay for everything.
Because it's your last meal
and
before the game.
She hands them these big binders of information. Like they each get like a big ass binder of information that they got to read through. And I did actually, speaking of the EpiPen gal, I wanted to read you something from the book because I thought it was so funny. Please tell me I remember to highlight it. So they're like talking about the food, and Rebecca, she's our actress that had the EpiPen.
Yeah.
And she's like talking to the guy who's taking their order, who's also, I think, the line cook at this diner. And she's like, no, like I have really bad food allergies. And she's like trying to explain it to him. And she's really polite. Like it's described as like she's overly polite about this. But the man waves his hand dismissively. And this is the actual quote. Imaginary. Your generation, honestly, in my day, you know how many kids were allergic to peanuts? None. Now everyone is so sensitive. Sensitive to this, sensitive to that. Grow a pair and learn how to eat like an adult. Rebecca keeps smiling. And she's like, hey, like I could literally die if I eat tree nuts or shellfish, or if anything comes into contact with them. And he goes, and yet here you are, still not dead.
Jesus.
And Linda is like, Gary, we know about Rebecca's allergies. Please make a separate breakfast we had requested. Remember, I sent it forward. Also, Gary gets into a fight with Shaved Head Ava because he's like, you know, are you a boy or a girl? And she's like, I don't have to tell you shit about me. And he's like, you don't know what I've been through. I'm a veteran. And she's like, so am I. Bet. Like, she's very aggressive. But there's like this diner fight with this guy Gary.
Yeah.
That I emotionally was like deeply invested in because as someone with a food allergy,
Yeah.
I have dealt with a Gary.
We also used to live next to a veteran named Gary.
Yeah, he was
who had a marijuana tattoo.
He was the greatest
of
person.
a joint smoking a joint that he got in Tijuana.
He was the coolest dude we ever lived next to for sure.
He really was.
So I just had to read you that because it was
Yeah.
a personal part of the book where I was like, yeah, fuck this dude.
Yeah. But also at the same time, having worked in restaurants, you're also like, oh, allergies are so annoying.
Yeah,
You're like, yeah, I could die. And you're like, well, I probably shouldn't kill them.
Shut up.
Yeah, I know.
I know, but I only ever
I get paid the same whether or not you live or die.
which is nothing. When
I know.
the check comes in, it's zero.
Yeah.
So they all eat. Mac orders a huge breakfast.
Of course.
And so does Shaved Head Ava.
Yeah.
They're both like, listen,
Carb load.
5 pancakes, 6 pieces of bacon, sausage, eggs, all of it.
Load up.
Like Ron Swanson,
Yep.
like all the eggs in the restaurant. After breakfast, they're put back on the van and driven to a new location.
Okay.
This place they get to is like, they pull up and it's like this gorgeous Victorian house. Gorge. They get in, they like walk in and they realize that they're at like a beautiful spa. It's like black marble floors, white walls, white furniture, silver mirrored tables, like gorgeous spa. Okay. And they're separated into ladies and gents because like they have separate spas, kind of like the Russian spas.
Yeah.
And they go in and they have these big baths, like the hot steam baths and like the Turkish spas with the sprays and all that.
Mm-hmm.
So they all kind of just go in for a nice soak. They're like, hell yeah, dude.
Okay. So they had a real big breakfast.
Yep.
Now they're having a big soak.
A big soak.
Okay.
Except for Legrand, our lost boy, he sits outside of the door and doesn't go in. He doesn't want to.
Because he's an incel who's afraid to be naked.
He doesn't want to take his shirt off. Doesn't
He's
want to
a
pop
never
that shirt
nude.
off.
He never nude.
He doesn't want to take that shirt off.
Nope.
They.
I don't trust this incel vampire. I just want to keep throwing that out there.
They can have they can have, the hot showers, the cold showers, body scrubs, massages. And so, a lot of them are doing it. They're getting the massages and they're getting the salt scrubs and they're all like living it up. Mac decides that she's taking the soak. She's sitting there, she's taking her nice hot soak to relax, but she's not doing anything else because she, in her mind, doesn't want any scented oils on her skin. Okay. So Mac immediately is like, I don't want to smell like nothing.
Yeah.
Get the fuck out of here.
Hide and seek.
Hide and seek, bitches. Like Mac is like,
Mac's like, I'm
day
winning.
one.
I'm winning $50,000.
Mac is like day one. Fuck you. I'm not your friend. You're not putting that on me. 6 pancakes. Okay. Like this.
Yeah.
Mac is in it to win it.
I like that they chose for the main character someone competent.
Yeah.
I do like that they chose
Yeah.
someone competent because every other book you've read me so far, idiots. Every single one of them been fucking morons.
I don't think that's true. I feel like the one with the mermaids, there was a lot of smart scientists just mixed in with some of the not smart scientists.
No, they weren't the main character.
Oh, okay. So
In the mermaid one, the main character was like, my sister was murdered on your mermaid boat. Oh yeah, I'll do it. I'll do the exact same thing my sister did for revenge.
On the mermaids.
Yeah.
So they get back in the van and they're driven to the Amazement Park. That's the name. Amazement Park.
The Amazement Park?
That's the name of
What's
it.
amazing about it? That they allowed race mixing?
Okay. The Amazement Park. And they're sitting at the van. They're all still in this van and they're looking at the park in front of them. Okay. They're not being let out though. And Linda is just explaining the rules. Okay. She's like, when we go in there, we're going to drive directly to base camp. So they've set up a base camp in kind of the middle area. And when we get to base camp, you can only use base camp from sundown to sun up. So it's for nights only. It's to sleep and eat, shower. That's it. Once the sun comes up, you need to be out of there or you're disqualified. So you have to go hide in the park because it's hide and seek.
Yeah.
Okay. There are no free spaces. There are no timeouts. If the sun is up, the game is on. Okay.
Okay. Well, at least they have a sundown policy.
Yep. God damn it. So the thing that's like a little unnerving is the bus driver won't let them out of the bus until sundown because they don't want to give them any opportunity to see the layout.
Oh,
You know what I mean? Because
yeah.
then they'll be able to look around and like walk through a little. And they're like, no, we're not leaving this van until it gets dark, and we're going to drive up there, and then you won't know until tomorrow what you're looking at. Okay. So no one gets an advantage to see the layout.
Okay.
So sun goes down. They drive into the park.
When the sun goes down
And
on my side of town.
During this part, it starts to get heavily implied through the discussions with Linda and some of the people that there's cameras set up throughout the park.
Okay.
And so people are like, wait, is this a reality show? And they're like, well, there was all this part in the NDA and contracts we signed that said that like any footage that's being used like is their property. So it's starting to occur to them that like, oh, this is being filmed.
Wait, did these fucking idiots think that they were going to be driven out to a racist amusement park and sign NDAs and be chased around for $50,000 and it wouldn't be put somewhere on either television or the dark web?
Yep.
This feels very dark webby, by the way.
Oh.
This feels very much like this is being played on like a Russian server for a group of people who can bet on it via NFT.
So they get to the place in the middle, and there's a whole buffet of food out. Lots and lots of food out again. And Mac fills up her backpack with lots of protein bars, and she drinks a bunch of water. So, like, they've got bunches of bottles of water out, and she drinks, like, 5. She just, like, twists the cap, chugs it, crunches it, twists the cap, chugs it, crunches it. 5 bottles of water. Because in her mind, she's not drinking any water tomorrow. Okay?
Yeah.
When she's out in that park, she's not fucking peeing. You hear me? Other people are like, oh, we're going to have a drink and I'll take a water bottle with me out into the park. And Mac's like, nah.
Yeah.
So Linda is witnessing Mac and she's like, you don't have to hoard anything. We're going to replenish the food every day. But Mac doesn't care because Mac understands food insecurity. So she's like, fucking give me all the protein bars. And Linda states that she's going to stay with them for the first night to watch guard and make sure basically that they don't sneak out and try to go like.
Do they say who's hunting them yet?
No.
Okay.
I didn't get there yet.
Okay, I'm just asking. I was asking because it feels important.
So Linda is like, listen, I'm going to be here the first night to make sure that nobody goes out and tries to like figure out the landscape. Yeah. But after tonight, you all have to self-regulate. And like, you know how people are in a reality show. They're going to self-regulate to make sure that no one goes out and tries to figure out all the best hiding spots during the night.
Yeah.
So, yeah, during all of this, it's like, okay, so after they're in the house and it starts like very much having that reality TV thing where like people are getting to know each other. Maybe they're wrestling each other's feathers. A lot of big personalities. Yeah. Some little cliques are forming.
Starting to partner up and form alliances. Yeah. I ain't here to make friends.
Yeah, exactly. So during that, what's his name? The CrossFit guy, Jaden, he makes a joke and he's like joking with everybody and he's like screaming like, come out wherever you are. And because again, hide and seek. And the thing is that again, Mac goes into like a frozen state of emergency and a cold shock. And from her perspective, which is what we're reading, she just sees a huge knife sliding against the side of a wall. Like you're just looking at somebody pushing the knife against the side of a wall. Okay. And then the scene cuts, right? So it's just a little weird. A little weird. The next morning they wake up. Everybody's super pumped. Linda tells them that there is a bonus hidden in the park. A leather-bound book. And whoever finds the leather-bound book gets a bonus. She doesn't say what it is. Yeah. She doesn't say what's on the book, like anything. She's just like, listen, anybody who finds this leather-bound book, we hid it in the park, you get a bonus. We don't know what it is. But then people are kind of talking about it. Mac is like, I don't give a fuck about that book. I'm not going to be worrying about no damn book. Okay. Everybody else is worried about the book. Mac doesn't give a shit about this book.
Day one's about hiding.
So sun comes up.
Mac was like, you explained to me that the rules are to hide.
and that's what I shall do. Everybody scatters and runs in different directions. Mac runs for a while, but is like trying to remember the direction she's going in so that she can find her path back. So she's like taking her time, but like still going as fast as possible. So, let's see. I'm trying to remember. So she comes up upon a section of the park where you would like play games. Like, you know, where you like throw the rings on the bottles or
Yeah,
pick
yeah.
up the little ducks. So
The carnival game.
The
type of
carnival
place.
game. So
Yeah.
she gets to like the carnival game section, and she finds one that has like the like, they all kind of look like they have a tent structure, but they're not really tents. So she climbs up on top of one of them and is like on the roof. It's like kind of dipping because it's kind of tent, kind of structural.
Yeah.
But it's not breaking. So she just hides on top of the roof because she can like theoretically peer over the edge. But it's because it's dented, she kind of slides down into it and you can't see her if you're walking by.
Gotcha.
So she goes and hides up there, and she just lays in the middle of it. And she doesn't fall asleep. She just never moves. She just kind of stays like in meditative state.
Yeah.
Like, she doesn't want to fall asleep and not be aware of what's happening.
But kind of the way like an iguana or like a chameleon would just kind of blend in with just stay completely still.
Me on the beach. Just lay there.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
So hours into hiding there, she hears the padding of feet. She hears someone walking towards her. Immediately, she's like, it doesn't sound human though. And so now she's like, oh, do they have dogs? Right? Fuck, they have dogs. Because we're starting to understand that like if they're hiding, the seekers, the people that are seeking them, are people from Ox Entertainment. And now she's concerned that these people have dogs with them, which is like, again, okay, but like she didn't realize it was going to be dogs.
Yeah.
And she feels like it's fucking cheating, to be honest.
Yeah, but she didn't use any of the scented soaps.
Yeah, she's in a scented soap, so she's good.
Smart.
But the other thing that like she hears but she doesn't process or like swallow is that when she's hearing it, it doesn't sound like a dog with 4 legs. It sounds like 2 legs. She's like, well, like she brushes it off. She brushes it off.
So it's like the clicking of dog nails almost, and like the padding.
The padding, yeah.
Okay. I got you.
Now everybody else is hiding in other places, so nobody has really like created real cliques yet. So somebody's hiding in the carousel. Somebody climbed up the roller coaster track. Somebody's hiding in the fun house. That person has a fear of clowns. So it's pretty funny with the way they explained it. Now during this, Isabel, I don't remember who Isabel is. I feel like she's the intern. I think Isabel's the intern.
I think she is.
Okay, so Isabel, I don't lose my spot. So Isabel decides that she doesn't want to deal with this anymore. So she kind of like,
she's just done. She's like, this sucks.
She's like, I fucking hate this. It's really hot out. She has to pee. She thinks the whole thing is bullshit. So she leaves her hiding spot. She's like, fuck this. Where are the producers? Where are the people running this? I'm done. Right? Yeah. She immediately gets lost. So like, okay. She's in the big amusement park. She gets lost immediately and she cannot find her way back to the base camp. So she sits on the ground, kind of like an upset kid. And like in her mind, she figures like there's cameras everywhere. They're filming this. So
yeah, and also she's like, I don't care anymore. So if somebody finds me, then I'm out. Then I'm done.
It's fine.
Come on, Mr. Beast, come out here and find me.
Yeah. So she's like, yeah, the
stupidest
producers,
YouTube show ever.
So the producers or Mr. Beast will show up, and she hears someone behind her, and she's like, finally, thank you, thank God you found me. End of scene. Right. The sun sets, and when the sun goes down, Mac climbs down from her hiding spot. She walks a little bit away from there, and then like has a very big pee. You know, like I've been holding it for over 8 hours pee. Big pee. And then as she's peeing, she realizes there's a beacon of light being shot up in the air, kind of like when you're down the shore and there's like one of those lights. And it's coming from the main lodging area.
To the base camp.
To help people find their way back to the base camp.
That makes sense. That's nice.
So she's like, all right, cool. So she starts walking, and it takes her an hour to get back to it, even with the beacon, because she gets lost. She can't find her way. It's dark. Also, she had run pretty far away to get away from the base camp. When she gets back, she drinks lots of water again, takes a hot shower. Everybody's returning, and they're pissed off. They're all like sunburned, cranky, bug bitten. Like everybody's upset. Except for Brandon, who's like, guys, this is so wild. I've never stayed in one still for so long. Like, Brandon is just so fucking happy, dude.
Yeah, because he's a gas station attendant.
He's just like, this is his vacation. So he's like, this is great. I'm having the best time.
Honestly, let's go, Brandon.
No. So basically, like, everybody's back. We're eating, we're peeing, we're changing clothes, we're bitching and complaining.
It's called kvetching.
Kvetching, yep. And so 3 people haven't come back yet. Logan, the app guy, Isabella, and Atreus, Kyle, just Kyle.
Oh yeah, the graffiti guy.
The graffiti guy.
Yeah.
Linda's there though, and she's like, lets them know that, okay, so Linda's at the base camp, and she's still like talking about rules and stuff, and she lets them know that every day 2 people are going to be found. Like, so the seekers are going to go out and they're going to find 2 people, and those 2 people will be removed from the game because they lost. And they're like, oh, do they get to come back to base camp? So we say goodbye to them. And they're like, no, because we don't want them to give you any hints or anything. So once the 2 people are found, we're actually just gonna go. And then when I was reading it, I was like, well, once you find the 2 people, like, why can't they all just come back to base camp? They have to pee. But that wasn't explained. And so I was like, that's a bummer for them.
But they're definitely going to find 2 every day, even though today we found 3.
Yeah. So then Linda announces that Isabella and Logan were found. So the app developer and Isabella, the intern, were both found. She says that Atreus is still on his way back to base camp. And they're like, everybody kind of gets upset because they're like, we don't think he's actually coming back to base camp. We think he's just scouting out the area, you know?
Oh, yeah. This motherfucker's cheating.
He's cheating. So the YouTube girl, the prank girl, she's upset because she wanted to bond with Logan because they were talking on the bus about building out an app together and creating a prank channel app, like this whole very YouTuber conversation.
Yeah.
And so she's upset, but whatever. Next morning, Mac wakes up super early. She is ready. This time she grabs a blanket because she is like, I was so hot yesterday laying on that roof that I want to bring a blanket with me so I can cover my body so I don't get sunburn again. Jaden, that's the CrossFit guy, starts yelling at her that she shouldn't be allowed to use props or anything. Like, you can't take anything extra with you. And the jewelry girl, her name is Rosie, was like, we've all been listening to rules and I haven't heard any rules against taking a blanket. Right? Like, so internal arguing about rules is already starting. The argument ends when people see Atreus, Kyle, in the house, and they're like, where were you last night? And he's like, oh, I was out exploring. And they're like, that's against the rules. You were cheating. So everyone's just like declaring that everybody's cheating. Atreus doesn't give a fuck though. And it's in this moment that Mac really likes his energy. She's like, I like that.
Okay. Yeah.
He's like, I don't give a fuck if you're mad. I'm doing whatever I want. And she's like, respect. Real recognizes real. So... And she starts talking to Atreus about like what he saw while he was walking out there. And he was like, he's like, listen, I was just out there doing my art, you know, because he like is tagging stuff or whatever. And she was like, oh,
where did he get spray paint from?
I don't know how he got spray painted.
Okay.
Another question left unanswered. And he's like describing it that he does it for the love of the game. Also, it's a maze. And she's like, what do you mean your art is a maze? But then she's like, I don't want to talk to you anymore. Like immediately she's like, I don't want to talk to you because you're describing this as your art is a maze. So they all head back into the park.
Oh, wait, I just got it.
So they all head back into the park. And Buzzed, Ava, and Mac are becoming friendly in the way that like 2 cats being introduced into the same house are friendly.
Yeah.
You know, like we're suspicious.
Yeah.
We're side-eyeing each other.
Something fucky here.
But at the same time, we both understand the sunspot is the coolest.
Yeah.
Now here's the thing. Ava has not been sleeping.
Hold on, real quick.
Go ahead.
Time out.
Yeah, okay.
So I'm going to write down on the back of this paper what I think this whole thing is.
Okay, go ahead.
And at the end of this whole thing, I will then premiere it to you.
Okay, great.
But I'm writing it down now.
Okay.
I don't want to ruin it.
Yeah, okay.
But I have an idea of what this is.
That makes sense.
All right.
So, and you made me lose my thought. Okay, okay, so Ava has not been sleeping this whole time.
Mm-hmm.
Like everybody's like come home, gone to bed, because like she was so freaked out by the bus that she still just doesn't trust anybody. And also she just like doesn't like sleeping in a room with all these people. So she hasn't been sleeping and she's going a little cuckoo, right? And Mac is like, listen, I'm not saying you have to trust me, but like do you feel safe enough near me? And Ava's like, yeah, like kind of. So Mac's like, listen, I'm going to go back to the same hiding spot I was at yesterday. Come with me. You can sleep while we hide. I'll make sure nothing happens. You can just go to fucking sleep. So they're like, they agree to these terms.
Okay.
And they walk together to the place where she hid yesterday, which is like with the carnival games. So they climb up there. They get in there. They both get under the blanket so they don't get to sunburn. And Ava does go to sleep. Okay. So then we switch to Legrand's perspective for a brief moment. The lost boy. And he's thinking about how he hates hiding alone because he doesn't like being alone with his thoughts. And he's not terrified of the game. He's just terrified in general. And
because he's a vampire incel.
He's thinking a lot about how he misses his sister.
Gross. Okay.
No, he misses his sister who he loves. And she's very sick. And he's worried about her because he's not there to take care of her.
Okay.
And he's worried since he was removed from the compound and there's no one there to take care of her or blow her bubbles or take her places besides her bed. But he used to get in trouble for doing that. And the prophet always got mad. And she must really think he abandoned her, but he hasn't abandoned her in his heart, but she must be really scared. And he's scared too.
What the fuck?
Yeah. So Brandon is hiding in the love tunnel. Brandon's the CrossFit guy.
Okay.
Oh no, Brandon is the happy gas station attendant.
Yeah.
And he's hiding in the love tunnel and he's just so happy. He's just sitting there smiling. Just sitting alone, smiling for 8 hours.
I like Brandon. Yeah,
He's just having the time of his life. And in quotes, he's just thinking about all the new friends he's made on this new adventure. He's just having a time. Jaden is being weird. He's the CrossFit guy.
Yeah.
Jaden's being weird.
Yeah.
He's following around other contestants. Like sneakily following around, boot scooting around. And he's hiding in places where they can't see him, but he can watch them. He wanted to follow Mac today, but he's really afraid of Ava, and he saw they were walking together, so he didn't follow her because he's really intimidated by Ava.
Okay.
And he didn't follow Atreus because he doesn't like them.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Do they all know that it's $50,000?
Yeah.
Okay, so for all of them, it's $50,000.
Yep.
There's not a single one where like, oh, I'm gonna get the cure to my
No,
wife's
everybody's
thing.
gonna get 50 grand. The winner gets 50 grand.
Okay, but they all have the same goal.
Yeah.
Okay, I gotcha.
So he doesn't follow Atreus because he doesn't like him, and he did follow Sydney though.
Okay.
And so he's hiding close to where Sydney's hiding, so he can keep an eye on her.
Which one was Sydney?
Oh.
Yeah.
I don't know.
You should have kept notes on the side of this one.
Oh, I should have put notes on the side. I don't like it when you're right about something.
Yeah, I should have written them all out.
Oh, what? Wait, hold on. I'm trying to remember who's Sydney. Sydney is the prank YouTuber.
Okay, there you go.
Okay. So, back to Mac. Oh my God, back to Mac. That's really funny. You wouldn't know what that is. But so Mac.
So what you're saying is we're returning to the Mac.
We're returning to the Mac. Oh my God, so many things. No, Mac, the makeup company Mac.
Yeah.
If you like use up 6 items from Mac, you can take the containers back to Mac, and then they recycle them and they give you a free lipstick. It's called the Back to Mac program. And then Return to the Mac is obviously one of the greatest R&B songs of all time. So,
Gotcha.
Obviously.
Well, real quick, before we return to Mac.
Yeah.
I know Mac is holding her pee, but I can't.
Okay.
So we're going to take just a quick little page turn here.
Oh, I see.
And then when we come back,
Yep.
you can tell me exactly what Mac is doing.
Okay.
All right?
Okay.
And we're back.
Okay, great. So Mac is keeping watch while Ava's asleep,
Okay.
and she hears that padding walking sound again.
Okay.
Heavy breathing.
Yeah.
She hears the things. She hears a dog kind of like pawing at the ground. And from like where she can, like, you know how the acoustics. So like with the acoustics of where she is, it sounds like this dog is digging in the area where she peed yesterday.
Okay. Like going for the scent.
Mm-hmm. And so she is like hella grateful that she walked away from the original hiding spot. 'Cause remember I told you she walked a bit away. But this thing pushes, like it's sniffing around and it pushes up against the side of the structure and like shakes the whole thing, like kind of like a cat pushing up against something.
Yeah.
And in this moment, Mac is feeling really fucked up. Like she's feeling hunted, like kind of like what you were saying.
Yeah.
She's feeling like prey. And Ava, who apparently has been awake for the last few minutes, grabs her hand and holds her so neither of them move. Right? And at that moment, they hear the loud sound of metal being slammed, like somebody like just slamming metal really loudly, and a woman scream. And whatever was making that noise runs towards the scream. And they both take a deep breath. Mac is like reminding themselves that this fucking game, nothing is going to happen. It's just a fucking game, right?
Yeah.
Cut to Sydney, the YouTube prank artist.
Yeah.
She's an artist. She's an artist.
Okay.
No, I made that up. But Sydney's screaming, "You son of a bitch," at Jaden, who is running away from her and back into the woods, because it's clear that Jaden has gotten a metal pipe and was slamming it on the ride that Sydney was hiding in.
Oh, to like give her away.
Yeah. So Sydney is now trying to climb down from her hiding spot. She kind of gets caught in a tree. And once she finds her footing, she realizes that she's been found. And it's end of scene, right? Like,
yeah.
So she's out. They get back to the main area. Mac and Ava. I'm back with Mac and Ava. And they get back to the main area. And Linda's there, of course. And Linda lets them know that both Sydney and Rosie were found and therefore removed from the game.
Which one was fucking Rosie?
Rosie was the jewelry designer.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. She's a very likable character, actually. It's just I don't have a lot of time to get into all the deep dives of each character.
No, that's fine. That's fine.
But it was a bummer that Rose. I was like, man, I was hoping Rosie would make it. She had cool jewelry.
Okay.
Because they described her jewelry a lot.
But can't only one of them win?
Only one of them can win.
Then Rosie can't make it. We're rooting for Mac.
I know. This is a Mac household.
Yeah. Because Mac doesn't have one.
What the fuck?
What? It's true.
So people, they're there. They're eating. They're showering. They're decompressing. Blah, blah, blah. And Brandon, our happy golden retriever from Idaho, builds a fire in the pavilion. So like there's kind of like, this feels like summer camp. Like there's like a pavilion kind of with an outdoor fire area, but it's still within their sleeping area.
Gotcha.
I don't know. I know what it looks like in my mind because I went to Girl Scout camp one year and I was like, I know what they mean by this pavilion with the fire.
Yeah.
Fun fact, the only reason I got to go to summer camp is because I sold all the cookies and I didn't cash them in. I sold all the cookies and saved the points and I paid for myself to go to summer camp.
Huh.
And then a bummer fact about summer camp, it was not fun. Also, it's when I got my first period at Girl Scout camp.
Okay. Well, I feel like you've
told too much. So
yeah.
I don't care. And so wait, okay, what happened? So they're building the fire.
It's crazy that you'll share that, but you're like, don't ever say my name. Like our listeners know when you've had your first period.
They don't know what year it was. They don't know what camp I was at.
Yeah.
They just know I had a terrible experience at Girl Scout camp that I paid for in cookies.
Yeah.
That I can't eat.
Now you can't eat. You could eat them then.
I could eat them back. I probably ate so many of them back then.
That's probably what gave it to you.
So then Jaden suggests that they like play a game.
We're at 4 now, right? Or 5?
5? I think we're at
4.
5.
We're at 4.
I don't know. We got 2 Avas. We got a Mac. We got a Jaden. We got a Brandon.
No, I'm saying of people who got knocked out.
Oh, yeah. We got 4 that are knocked out.
4 knocked out. Yeah.
I'm sorry.
So there's 10 left.
I thought you were talking about the contestants that are left.
Yeah, no. I meant gone. I mean,
gone.
we got them.
Bye.
They're
Bye.
over. They're done. Like segregation at this amusement park.
Jesus
They're finished.
So
it's just weird that they would even make it a thing. Like they could, the amusement. It's set today, right?
Yeah.
So the amusement park could have been abandoned in the 70s. They could have just made the amusement park after segregation. It's a choice by the writer.
Yeah.
To open with segregation.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I know.
All right.
Okay, so you made me lose my thought again.
Oh, I apologize.
They're building the fire. Brandon's building the fire.
Okay.
And then everybody's like suggesting like, should we play games, like card games or a spooky story? And what's it called? Jaden, CrossFit guy, is like, listen.
Nobody likes Jaden.
Nobody likes Jaden. He's like, we should do cool stories, kind of spookier stories. And he's like, have you guys ever heard of the hide and seek massacre? And they're like, what are you fucking talking about? And he's like, my ex-girlfriend was obsessed with true crime podcasts, and she told me this one. He's like, she would just tell me everything she heard on the podcast.
This feels very meta right now.
I know.
I just want you to know.
I just need you to know that Jaden said that his girlfriend would tell him everything she heard on these podcasts. And I said, wait a minute. Hold on.
You just opened up a whole new field in our brains.
So
the hide and seek massacre.
So yeah, he's like, yeah, I'm going to tell you guys the story of the hide and seek massacre. And in this moment, Mac freezes. Again, out of body experience. And Pretty Ava is like, you're making that up. That never happened. Like, that, what a weird thing to make up. And LeGrand is like, what's a podcast? And everybody's like, what the fuck, LeGrand? Why are you so weird? And so
I keep forgetting that we've now been explained to us that he is Kimmy Schmidt.
Yeah, that is the best way to describe.
Yeah, he's been kept in a compound by some weird religious prophet and was kicked out for giving his little sister cookies, it sounds like. Okay, yeah.
So he goes on to explain the story of the massacre, and he says, so there's this guy who has a wife and 2 daughters and a baby on the way.
Hold on.
No. Okay,
I just love the idea of, like, I've been like, bullshit, and LeGrand being like, what's a podcast? Everyone's like, fuck you, dude. Nobody likes you, dude.
What is wrong with
dude,
you,
you're
man?
so fucking weird, dude. But, like, you could hear everyone doing it and just this one, what's a podcast? What are you, a fucking time traveler, dude? Where are you from?
Yeah, that's what happened.
Someone's like, follow me on TikTok. He's like, why would I follow you on a clock?
What are you guys talking about?
They keep saying YouTube.
There's a guy. He's got a wife, 2 daughters, and a baby on the way. He cannot keep a job because he's got anger issues, a chip on his shoulder, and a drinking problem. In his most recent firing, he got fired again, and it was the last straw for his wife. She's like, listen, I can't take this anymore. I'm leaving. I'm taking the kids, and we're going to my parents' house. So they leave. A little while later, he invites the whole family back to his house because he wants to celebrate that he has gotten a new job and he's changing his ways, the whole thing. They're sitting in the family room, and he tells his daughters that they're going to go play hide and seek. And so he tells them, go hide. And this is not abnormal. The little girls played hide and seek with their family all the time. And so the 2 little girls did as they were told and went to hide. And once they're out of the room, he takes out a knife and slits the throat of his father-in-law, stabs his mother-in-law in the gut, and then his wife. The screaming made one of the daughters come out of hiding, and he kills his daughter. He then goes looking for the last daughter. Now, here's the thing. The mom wasn't dead. She was stabbed and all, but she crawled outside. She tried to go get help. She did die on the front stoop on the patio stairs. The dad was looking for their child, so he didn't see this happening. But he spent the whole night trying to find the other daughter. He does not find her. A jogger passing by at sunrise sees the dead woman on the stoop and calls the police. The police arrive. He kills himself before he can be taken. The police are on the scene for 2 hours before the little girl finally came out of her hiding spot. Everybody around the fire is immediately grossed out. Why the fuck would you tell us that story? That's fucking awful. And Jaden says, I told you so you would know how fucking insane it is that the lone survivor of the hide-and-seek massacre is competing in a hide-and-seek tournament. Isn't that right, Mackenzie Black? And Mac gets up and walks away and goes to bed because everybody is too stunned to speak.
Yeah.
Because this is Mac's true backstory of what happened to her family. She describes that he only got a few details wrong. And the details that he got wrong were that his sister was hiding, but she was found. And not that she heard anything and went running towards it. They were both hiding because they heard screams, right? She never went looking.
Yeah.
So she is terrified of hide and seek. Again, and this goes back to that woman at the homeless shelter. She's like, why the fuck would you offer me this? Why would you bring this to me?
All the people.
Yeah, why would you bring this to me of all the people?
Yeah.
So Mac goes to bed. She's like, fuck this, I'm out. I'm not explaining this to anybody. Because again, she doesn't want to be friends with these people anyway.
She's not here to make friends.
She's not here to make friends.
Yeah. And also, Jaden's the fucking worst.
Jaden is the worst.
I don't like Jaden.
You shouldn't like Jaden. He's the fucking worst.
I have a picture of him in my mind, and I want.
I don't want to speak too boldly, but I haven't met any dude that's in the CrossFit that I'm really like, that guy's cool.
I've never met anyone into CrossFit who didn't start it because of a breakup. That was their fault. It's always everyone I've met who started. No one has ever been like, oh, what's this thing called? CrossFit? Yeah, I'll give it a try. It's always been, no, I can get her back.
Yeah. Yep. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Every time.
Yeah. Sometimes that, or like not wanting to dive into your emotions. It's a whole thing. So,
I said what I said.
The next morning, Ava and Mac go back out again.
If there's anyone listening to this while doing chin-ups, I want to let you know
if
right
you're
now.
Flipping a tire right now.
Listen, if you're doing pull-ups on a bar.
If you're doing box jumps.
If you're doing pull-ups on a bar, you're doing them wrong, and you're actually causing damage to your back.
You're going to get hurt.
Slow the fuck down.
Oh, my God.
Do them properly.
Those people are not properly trained to teach you how to do that stuff.
No, you're basically learning from a chiropractor.
Ugh! They're the chiropractors of fitness?
Yes.
True. Okay, so next morning, Mac and Ava go out to find another hiding spot together. I'm trying to think. Okay, so they actually go and find the bumper cars. And again, they're following the same strategery, if you will, is they're getting on the roof. They're going to climb up to the top of the bumper car's roof. And
but don't stay near any piss.
Don't stay near any piss. Oh, also an important note is that Ava was in bed. She wasn't asleep, but she wasn't in the room because Ava doesn't like those people either. So Ava didn't hear the fire story. Ava doesn't know about that. Rebecca goes and hides in the carousel. When she gets there, Rebecca's the actress. When she gets there, she finds one of Rosie's necklaces and a boot and what looked like oil. But she also is like, is it blood? But it could be oil. And she starts freaking out because she's just like, why is there a boot? Like, I don't know how you got taken out of here. Why would your shoe still be here?
Yeah, how'd you get knocked out of a shoe?
So she freaks out and goes running out into the open screaming for help. Again, assuming the Seekers are going to be there. And Ava and Mac hear the screaming because like where they are, they can hear the screaming, but it abruptly stops. And then they hear footsteps and they look down because they're kind of looking over their perch and they see Legrand and he's running towards the screaming. But that's really it. And then sunset comes again and they head back to camp. And when they get there, there is like 5 times the amount of food that's usually there. So like they put out a big spread every night, but this is like a huge spread. Okay. Big spread of food.
Yeah. A big lunch.
A big lunch. Buzzed Ava confronts Jaden about suspecting him of setting people up. So like Ava this whole time doesn't like Jaden. Again, Ava went through actual military training. So when she sees CrossFit, she's like, you want to talk to me about fucking push-ups?
Yeah.
Like, no.
Yeah. Nice vanity muscles there, bitch boy.
So she confronts him about suspecting that he's setting up people, and he doesn't deny it. He's just like, all's fair in love and war. Ugh.
I ain't here to make friends.
Yeah, I'm not here to make friends. And we find out within this conversation that he's been colluding with Pretty Ava to sabotage people. So Pretty Ava has created like a little alliance with Jaden, and they have been sabotaging people.
Okay. Never trust an Instagram.
Now this night, Atreus or Kyle, its name is Kyle.
I know. It's just so funny. Atreus or Kyle.
Kyle, his mother said Kyle.
Yeah.
His mother looked at a baby and was like, Kyle. Atreus and Rebecca got found and they did not come back. Okay. Also, here's a fun fact. Linda didn't come back this night.
No Linda?
No Linda. She didn't show up to do the usual, like, this is who didn't make it.
Leaping Linda.
Linda didn't show back up. So now we're cutting to Linda's perspective. Because they're all like, where the fuck's Linda? Who didn't make it? Like, we know Rebecca's not here. We always just assume that Kyle's out there spray painting, or did he get found? Like, what's going on? Yeah. So we cut to Linda's perspective. She is in a board meeting. Okay, she's in a boardroom. There are people on a Zoom call. And so each of the people in the room or on the call are representatives of one of the families, in quotes. So there's families. They are discussing how this year's game is going. So one of the men complains that he feels like some of the families are doing more work than others. Linda's pissed because she's like, all you do is drive the fucking van. Like, I found the contestants, coordinated the invites, handled all the logistics, went into the park. What do you fucking do here, Dave? Like, kind of that kind of energy, right? So anyway, that's all we really see is like them arguing in a boardroom about how the games are going. So we cut to Christian, who I totally forgot about until I just saw his name. He is the writer, right? Christian's the writer. So we cut to Christian, and he's in the park looking for a hiding spot, and he goes into the haunted house. So like, it's like the ooky spooky 1950s style haunted house. And he's like describing it as he walks through. But so while he's hiding in the haunted house, he finds, the leather-bound book.
Oh.
Yeah, he finds a leather-bound book. So I highlighted some of the most important parts of the leather-bound book. And I'm going to go through them from the book because it's important to the storyline. So he's in the book, he's reading this because he's like in his hiding spot and he has this book. So he's like, I'm just going to read it. And he finds an inscription on the front and it says, "She must have known I was against her because she threw me in here with the beast. But she didn't know I had the book with me already. Maybe they are all in on it, though. I stay hidden for fear both of them and the beast. One and the same, really. It doesn't matter. I'm out of time to find a solution in these pages or to find an ending to this nightmare. I cannot stop it, and I will be consumed. I deserve it. We all do. I'm sorry. May you do what I could not. And if you are reading this, Linda, I hope you rot in hell. I'll be there waiting for you."
Okay.
Next page. July 5th, 1925. Oh, this is actually not a page. This is a piece of paper that was slipped in there. "We only want our families to understand. We have lived through the Great War. We fear the looming on the horizon. We refuse to watch our children suffer and want and struggle and die the way we've watched our brothers and sisters and parents. If making this choice means we protect our town and children, our blood, our people, and it ensures our line carries on stronger, our name marching forward, growing and building and becoming our dreams made real, then we are satisfied that our sacrifice is worthwhile. Who wouldn't sacrifice for their children? Know this, we are making a deal and we do not know what the cost is, but we will pay it and we will send out love to our down generations. We leave Hobart Keck as witness and in charge of administration. Individual notes from couples to follow. Please see that our children receive them and take care of our little ones as you would your own, knowing what we have done. Sincerely, Tommy and Mary Callis, George and Alice Pulsifer, Orville and Ethel Nicely, Willie and Ruth Stratton, Joel and Mary Young, Robert and Rose Harrell, and Samuel and Irene Fry." July 10th, 1925. "We finished Tommy's temple last week. The gate this morning, built and placed and sealed and protected as detailed by Tommy's careful notes. Though I cannot see the sense in any of this, they designated me a witness, and I don't know why. They intended me to witness what? 14 desperate fools go into the woods and make themselves silly by chanting and spells?" July 14th, 1925. "Well, I've sent them into the forest and closed the gate behind them. 7 days, they told me. Maybe they want a holiday away from their children? Easier ways to do that than creating an elaborate ceremony based on secret writings found in a burned out church in the middle of nowhere. They took a cow with them. Why did they need to take a cow? Tommy shook his head and told me not to think about it as they walked past, leading the cow. I can't think of anything else, though. What did they need the cow for?" July 16th, 1925. "There was a noise. I will call it a noise. And then pressure, unbearable pressure, that made me think I would faint or die. When it finally released, my ears were bleeding." July 17th. "The gate is bothering me. It's just a gate. It's surrounded by trees. There's no fence it connects to. It's just a gate standing alone in the forest. Why is there just a gate?" July 18th. "This morning, as the sun crested the horizon, I heard screaming. I was about to run into the trees at the screams, but then I heard the laughing. I'm more scared of the laughing. I am a coward. but the laughing, I would not want to run towards laughter like that. July 22nd. If I had known what they were really asking me to do, the burden they were putting on me, the ghosts they were shackling me with, the horror they were leaving me to wade through, I would have told them no. I would have known that they were asking me to sacrifice right alongside themselves. July 25th, 1925. I found the cow, or whatever was left of her, rotting and putrid, the whole stomach blasted through her. For I don't understand why. It was worse than anything I'd ever imagined. The poor cow. What was the poor cow being used for? I vomited and braced myself to see the fates of the 14 people, if this was the fate of the cow. The temple waited. I trembled. I shook. I am not ashamed to say I wept. But at last I set foot inside and found nothing, or so I thought. It was empty. The floor was bare, save the pattern Tommy meticulously laid into the black and white stonework. Even though it was empty, I felt no relief, no release, because of the smell. And then I noticed it. The gentle inhale and exhale. The steady pace of a sleeping breath. Something was there, and I could not see it. Something slept, breathing deeply, soft, wet exhaustion. My eyes insisted nothing was there, but I could hear it. I could smell it. I ran then. I ran from the temple into the woods, and then shut and locked the gate behind myself, haunted and hunted. Tommy and Mary and the rest were gone, but they had left something behind. I got one more. July 15th, 1932. It is awake. We were not prepared. We offered it a cow. It ate 2 men that were offering the cow, the Fry brothers. 2 a day for 7 days. And in the end, we could not match them or pull them or drag them to it. For 7 days, we tried to feed it. 7 years we have left to prepare. We must prepare better. And then it goes off and kind of says the same stuff over and over again.
Yeah.
Yeah. Any thoughts?
I mean, I know what it is.
Okay. So Christian freaks out, though.
Yeah, because you read this in the book.
Christian is hiding in a hell house.
Yeah.
Where people are disappearing.
Yeah.
We know nothing about this character because he was so boring that I didn't even write notes about him. So he goes, freaks out. He hears a loud noise and he goes running back to camp, gets lost, ends up making it to because he gets lost trying to go back to base camp, but he ends up making it to the edge of the park, like the wall of the park, if you will.
Yeah.
And he sees that there are high towers, there's high towers and then fences, right? And he's like, okay, well, I can climb the fence, right? We'll climb the fence and get the fuck out of here. And he goes to climb the fence and he gets zapped Jurassic Park style. Okay, electric fences. And so when he comes to, he's like, why the fuck are there electric fences here? Why would we need electric fences on a reality TV show, right? So then he's like, I'm just going to climb the tower. Because the tower is I guess climbable the way they described it. So he starts climbing the tower and he sees there's a guard in the top of the tower. He sees him right before the guard shoots him.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So he falls to the ground screaming. Ian had heard the gunshot and came running. And the moment that Ian finds Christian, they both get found and they're out of the game.
Okay.
Back at camp, Buzzcut Ava is trying to beat the shit out of Jaden.
Good.
She is bad. She's like, fuck you. And other Ava, pretty Ava, is having this internal dialogue about how bummed she is that she picked an alliance with Jaden, because she's like, I fucking hate this dude. I don't know why I decided to do this. She also kind of plays into how he's a lot like all of her ex-boyfriends. And she's like, I just don't know why I always partner myself with men like these. So now we have Brandon, the Golden Retriever, Buzzed Ava, Mac, and LeGrand forming an alliance. Okay. The main point of this alliance really is to protect themselves from Jaden.
Okay. Yeah. Because he's the biggest threat as far as they know.
Mm-hmm. So they're like, listen, we are going to try to they want to get Jaden out of the game. So they're going to try to use Jaden's tactics against him and get him out of the game. So they all decide to go hide together, and they find Lover's Hideaway. So the romance ride. Brandon suggested, because he had hidden there before. They all go and hide there except for LeGrand, who climbs up a fucking tree to be alone. So there's that. Not LeGrand. And Ava and Mac have like a little bonding session, if I remember correctly, and I think they kiss.
Oh.
So romance.
So that's
in the
our
romance
bisexual scientist moment.
Well, they're not bisexual.
Well, we've never been proven that they are.
Okay. Wow. Well, you hit the button, so they can't be now.
Okay. Well,
Wow.
Then,
See
then they're
what you
just
did? See what you did?
lesbian veterans.
Okay. Mac opens up to Ava and tells her the truth that she feels responsible for her sister's death. That her sister had shown her the hiding spot weeks before, and that she knew it was a great hiding spot. When her dad told him to go hide, she took Maddie, that's the sister's name, she took Maddie's good-ass spot. And Maddie was banging on the door of the cabinet, begging to be let in, and Max wouldn't give up her spot. Eventually, her sister gave up and hid in a different place, and that's when her dad found her and murdered her. She heard everything, because it was nearby. And so Mac feels like she stole her sister's life.
Okay.
And then I'm like, you were 8, so
Yeah, that's PTSD.
bro, you were 8. It's your dad's the bad guy, not you, my dude.
Yeah.
So they're having like this very bonding moment where she's getting very honest about what's going on in her life.
Mm-hmm.
Brandon is like super bored because nobody's talking to him.
Yeah.
he's just like, what are you guys doing? Oh, you're kissing? LeGrand's in a tree? I got nothing. So Brandon's bored and kind of scared. So he goes outside and stands at the bottom of the tree where LeGrand is hiding. And he's like talking up to him in the tree, but like quietly. And we find out that LeGrand has 37 siblings and that he's been banished from his family. And Brandon is like, well, that's a lot. And goes back into the, like walks back into the hiding spot. He's like, you know what? You have a good time up there. I'm going to go.
Oh, I feel bad for Brandon.
Poor Brandon.
Let's go, Brandon.
No, stop it. On the other side of the amusement park, Jaden and Ava are looking for a hiding spot. Okay. Jaden says he's like, I know it's a great place. That's where we're going. And so she's following him the whole time. She's like, God, I fucking chose wrong. I should have chose anybody else. Should have stayed with Mac and cool Ava.
Yeah, you had another person with your same name you could have gone with.
But yeah.
You pick Captain CrossFit.
That's what happens when you're not a girl's girl.
Yep.
You only go for the boys.
Yeah. Don't be an Instagram butt model.
No, it's not. I thought it's that energy. There's certain gals that like, they make their boyfriends their whole lives. And then when they get broken up with, then they call their girlfriends. But they disappear for like 2 years. It's very that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I'm not used to anyone like that.
So wait, where did I live off? Okay, so they're trudging to find a cool new spot. And they get to one of those big swing sets. You know, like the big swing sets, my favorite fucking ride. They're the best.
That goes really high up in the sky.
Yeah. They're coolest. And it has like the big chains and then the chairs at the bottom of the chain.
Yeah.
So they get to this and it has it, but all the chairs are rotted away. So it's just the chains dangling down. And Ava's like, where are we going to hide here? Brandon, Mr. CrossFit, grabs one of the chains, climbs up the fucking chain like it's a rope and gets to the top of the thing and hides on the top. And then basically is like, go fuck yourself, Ava. Bye. And abandons her there. But so she's like, the fuck? Like they had been walking for like an hour. She had no idea which way they came from.
Yeah.
But so yeah, he crossfits his way to the top of the ride, hides up there and abandons her. And then she's like SOL, right?
Okay.
Sun's coming up and she is not excited. So she doesn't scream at him like, fuck you, because she doesn't want to draw attention.
Yeah.
Smart. But she does panic because she realizes that he turned on her the way that she knew he would. So she decides to run towards camp. And as she's moving through the bushes, trying to find her way because she has no sense of direction. Also, she suspects that Jaden had been walking them in circles, to fuck up her directions. She gets her period. And
okay.
She really panics because she is not prepared for this.
Yeah.
Okay. Who would be? She's getting cramps. She's bleeding. It's bad. She's upset. Okay.
Yeah. And as far as she knows, they have dogs.
Yeah, there's dogs. Now, Mac and Buzzed Ava are still in their hiding spot. Like, I didn't really describe it, but they're kind of like up in a wall, kind of. It's very strange the way it's described. But they can see out the wall because of the cracks, because the building is so old. And they see pretty Ava walking by. and she looks terrified. I'm walking. She's like fast walking, and she's bleeding from her head, and she's bleeding from other parts of her body, and she looks like she's screaming, but there's no sound coming out, right? Like she's like in a state. And what's her name? Mac is like going, like feels like she wants to go. Like it looks like Mac's going to get down and go try to help her because she looks like she's like in such a state. And buzzed Ava is like, listen, this could be a trap. This could be Jaden sending her out like a little trap. So maybe we don't go over there. But Brandon and Mac are looking through the crack still, and buzzed Ava's like, listen, okay, I'll go check on her. You guys stay here. So buzzed Ava runs out, grabs a pipe on her way, and is like, I'm going to go help her, right? So she's standing across from Pretty Ava, and they're like pretty far apart, like, but they know that they're right across from each other, but there's still space in between them. And buzzed Ava's like, are you okay? Like yelling at her. And Pretty Ava's not looking at her. She's looking up, but not at buzzed Ava in any way. And she's like that weird quiet scream where you're yelling so loud there's no more sound coming out.
Yeah, she's been screaming so hard her voice is going hoarse. Yeah.
And all of a sudden, Pretty Ava is picked up out of the air by nothing. And so like she just floats into the sky, and her whole body is ripped in half. And then her head disappears. And now her body is just floating in the air in two parts. And Buzzcut Ava, who's seen a lot of shit, is just like, what the fuck is going on?
Yeah.
And as she's witnessing this, her whole body disappears in chunks. Like it's being eaten out of the sky.
Yeah.
And Ava, again, being like, I want to help her, starts kind of trying to attack the nothingness with the pipe, but it doesn't work. And she ends up running in the other direction to get away from what she's witnessing. And Brandon and LeGrand and Mac are just kind of like, they see some of it, they hear some of it, but they don't see what happens to Buzzcut Ava because she ran off into the trees.
Okay.
Now, Brandon and LeGrand and Mac, they all saw what was going on. And the thing is that LeGrand and LeGrand and Brandon are like shook about what they witnessed. And they're like clearly shocked and disturbed, blah, blah. And Mac has like this moment with LeGrand because like they're all just so fucking raw at this moment. And Mac is like, why are you here? Like, because he's so weird and he's acting so weird that Mac is like, what are you doing here? Like, it's clear you're not here for $50,000. Like, what are you doing here? And he explains that he was kicked out of his family compound and he ran away because he had run away to try to get a doctor for his sick sister. But outside medicine is against the rules. So the prophet banished him from the compound. And LeGrand asks Mac that if she wins or escapes the park, will she help his sister? And Mac says, okay, give me the details on where this compound is. What's your sister's name? And if I get the fuck out of here, I will go find her. Okay. But from this point forward, the agreement becomes between Brandon, Mac, and LeGrand, but mostly Brandon and Mac, that LeGrand is getting out. That is the new goal of the game.
Okay.
So they're like, fuck Jaden. We don't know what happened to Ava. We just witnessed a horror show.
Yeah.
And Brandon and Mac are both in this space where they're like, we need to help LeGrand get the fuck out of here to help his sister.
Yeah.
And that's all that fucking matters right now.
Okay.
So that's the new goal of the game. So the three of them decide they have to go find Jaden because they're like, we got to get him before he gets us.
Okay.
Because what we just witnessed happen to Pretty Ava is what's bound to happen to us if Jaden gets anywhere near us. So LeGrand's like, listen, I've been hiding in the trees. I think I know where he's going because he's been going to the same places. And LeGrand's been watching everybody because he's been like sneaky little lone boy.
Yeah.
And he's like, I think he's at the swing set. So they all go over there. They're like, they do the tree shuffle. We're like hiding in the tree line. It's like the whole thing. And Brandon climbs up the metal chain thing, which is like a whole feat. It's like he's having like this mental, like, I just got to do it for the kids and my new best friends. And he's like not strong enough to do this, but like,
he just gets that mom energy where you have to lift a car.
He gets the mom energy to lift the car.
He's getting let's go Brandon energy.
Yeah. For his new best friends.
Yeah.
So he climbs up to the top and he confronts Jaden and he's like, you're getting everybody fucking killed. And Jaden's like, what are you fucking talking about? This is a reality TV show competition. You are being insane. It's just a game. And Brandon grabs Jaden and is like, you don't know what the fuck you're talking about. You're killing people. And he grabs Jaden and walks to the edge of the ride and then walks off the ride with him. So he just walks off the top of the ride, splat. Brandon dies on impact. Immediately dead. We lose one of the best characters of the book. He just
suicide.
He suicided to kill Jaden.
Is Jaden dead?
So Jaden is not dead. He's gurgling there.
Oh, okay.
he's not well.
Yeah.
Brandon took most of the heat on the fall. But Jaden is not. He's not going to make it. Okay.
Okay.
Now, Mac and LeGrand witnessed this, and they are in shock. Okay, they didn't know what Brandon's plan was, but they didn't think that was the plan. But they were just like, okay. All of a sudden, they hear another really loud noise, and they see this giant thing come out of the trees. And they like hide into the other tree line, kind of like they back away, like that Homer Simpson gif.
Yeah.
And they witness this like beast come out, and it's like nostrils are flaring because it clearly smells the blood from Jaden. And it doesn't eat Brandon. I'm assuming because Brandon's dead, but Jaden's still alive. So it starts devouring Jaden. Okay. And I took a note on the description of the beast they see. It says, its hands almost human, but too large. Each finger a blunt, thick instrument, tapering to claws that are jagged, broken, and crusted with blood. Her eyes drifted up to its massive horns, erupting from its head. 5 of them, almost elegant in comparison with the rest of it. Gray at the base where they sweep out from the head and curving back towards each other, tapering up to white tips to meet a single point 18 inches above its skull. One hoofed leg slides forward. A long strand of spittle and blood falls from its mouth into the matted, filthy hair on its chest.
So it's like a giant Baphomet.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Labyrinth Minotaur. Yep. You're pretty good.
Yeah.
He showed me his paper where he wrote Labyrinth Minotaur.
Yeah.
Okay, you got the Mrs. Purple with the candlestick, but we don't really have the Y. You didn't write the Y down.
No, that is it in the Labyrinth Minotaur story.
That's it?
Yeah. No, you can keep going, but like I got that part.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so...
Once the guy said it's a maze,
yeah,
then I was like, oh, Ox Corp.
Yep.
Ox.
Yep.
Oh, there's 14 of them.
Yep.
Okay. Sacrifices.
So, okay. So now Mac has seen it. So now LeGrand and Mac have both seen it.
How is it invisible before? Does it only let you see when it wants to kill you?
I am getting there.
Okay.
So
I'm asking the questions.
Mac and LeGrand run the fuck away. Okay. They go find a place to hide and sleep for the night. The next day they wake up and they're trying to come up with a plan on what to do. And guess what? They find out Buzz Davis alive.
Oh, okay.
Buzz Davis survived. They sort of fill her in on what happened, and she lets them know that she killed one of the guards in the guard tower. She had climbed up, she killed him, and stole his gun. And they end up climbing. Let me see. Wait, hold on. Wait. Okay. Oh, sorry, my brain. So the whole thing is like, Ava's like, you guys saw it? And they're like, yeah, it's a monster. And she's like, I didn't see it. Like what we were just saying is like, and no, they don't have an explanation on why they saw the gross Minotaur monster and Ava didn't. She just saw an invisible thing eat someone. Yeah. So they decide they're going to go back to that guard tower and they're going to climb the fuck out because she already killed that dude in the guard tower. So they go climb it. They get out. They make their way out and they're like, okay, we're going to run towards what we're assuming is town. We're going to go find someone's house. We're going to borrow a car and we're going to get the fuck out of here. Okay.
Yeah.
They come up onto a house and it's like a really fancy house. It's got like the topiaries. It's very bougie. And they break inside. There's no one home. And it's like a time capsule inside. Like clearly like an older lady lives there. And they're searching around for car keys. They don't find any. Then they're just eating the food out of the fridge. Then they're just looking through stuff. You know, they're just like bored and they're like, whatever. At least we're safe for right now.
Yeah.
Mac is looking in the cabinets and there's like knickknacks in the cabinets, like those little porcelain dolls.
Are there patty wax?
And she finds a hutch, and she opens the hutch and finds a leather-bound book that says Nicely on the cover. And I'm pretty sure Nicely is her father's last name.
Okay.
Nicely. What time do we have?
We got time.
Are you sure? Because I feel like I got a little bit. Are we okay to go over a little?
I think we can go over a little.
Okay. So she grabs the book and she takes the book to the couch and sits next to Ava, who's eating a pudding cup. Boom. Favorite.
Okay.
You love a pudding cup.
I do love a pudding cup.
Don't look at me this way. You love a pudding
It
cup.
was just a weird thing to pull out.
I'm just saying,
Yeah.
you and Buzzcut Ava
Okay.
love a pudding cup, okay? They begin flipping through the book, and the book is all about like these distant relatives and people like killing themselves, and the author being like, these selfish idiots don't understand about what we have to do, the sacrifices we have to make. So like then the book like takes a weird turn. There's clearly a new author writing notes in it, and the author is talking about how they went to visit Coney Island and this amusement park, and they thought it was so cool that this could be a great way to hide the beast, as they're describing it.
Yeah.
They're like, if we built an amusement park that was a maze, we could hide the beast in it. So the book then jumps again, and we have another author talking about a distant relative who wasn't ever supposed to be in the park, but then they came to the park and they lost their daughter. And while that was, of course, a needed thing to happen for the sacrifices, they had wished that person didn't show up and ruin everything.
Yeah.
So they're forced to close the park and they don't know what they're going to do. So then they come up with this idea that they're going to pay people. They like hire people to come clean the park. And they're like, listen, we're going to reopen this amusement park. We just need to hire staff to come clean it this 1 week during the year. And so they hire these people to go in and clean it, and then they all disappear.
Yeah.
And they don't come out.
Yeah, they're all distant relatives because
Yeah.
these 7 families have to be sacrificing, right?
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
So then the author who's writing now, who we find out is Linda, in 2002 discovers this new amazing thing called reality TV. And she has this idea to pitch an amusement park adventure reality show as a way to get sacrifices into the park. Because in her quote, people are no longer answering the advertisements for honest work because they're lazy and they just want a cash prize.
Gotcha.
So this is why Linda comes up with reality shows. Mac puts the book down and is like, my father's last name was Nicely. And then LeGrant is like, this is my father's last name, whatever it was. And Ava says hers, and they're all like, oh my God, I can't believe we're all related to these people that are listed in the book. And I think the wheels are starting to click a little. But then they hear the garage door opening, and Ava grabs the rifle that she stole from the dead guard, and they attack the person coming in, which is Linda.
Good.
Yeah, it's Linda.
Throw Linda back in the park.
So Linda's pissed, and she's bamboozled. She's like, how the fuck did you all get out? Like, she's not even mad that at this point they're like tying her up to a chair. But she's like, no, but how did you get out? I worked so hard to keep you in there. How did you get out? And then she starts asking if it was fed today. Was it fed today? And they're all in an argument. They're like, what do you care? Like, we are getting out of here. We killed a guard. And she's like, no, I don't care. Did it get fed today? And they're like, yeah, it ate Jaden. We saw it eat Jaden. And they're like, what happened? She's like, what happened to Brandon? And they're like, he died. And she's like, did he get eaten? And she's like, no. And she's like, what a waste. So then they're like, you're such an asshole, Linda. You are such an asshole. So everybody's just like, yo, Linda, we fucking hate you, dude. And then Ava's like, I don't understand why you're so obsessed with feeding this invisible monster, Linda. And then LeGrand and Mac and Linda all kind of look at her crazy because they're like, what do you mean invisible monster? And then Linda's like, yo, your mom is a whore. Because she clearly lied about who your dad is. Because if you're not biologically related to this thing, it can't see you.
Oh.
And you can't see it. Yeah.
Okay.
Because apparently the monster itself is made of the blood and bones of the original sacrificed families.
Okay.
So like the big horns are actually like their ribs or whatever. Like,
gotcha.
So that's why like it only wants from the bloodline.
Okay. Because it's trying to reconstitute itself every 7 years.
Yeah, exactly. So it needs its 14 sacrifices. Yeah. So Ava's like, don't call my mom names. Fuck you. They get in her car and they're like, we're gonna get the fuck out of here. And while they're like talking amongst themselves about how they're gonna get the fuck out of here, fuck Linda, blah blah, steal the money in her purse, that type of deal. Linda's like, it's fine, go, no big deal. No, go, it's fine, because I'll just find other people, I'll just find other sacrifices. And she's like, LeGrand, your dad is great for sacrifices. Your dad is always calling us, letting us know he's got people. He told me recently he has a daughter, a sick one, can't walk. I'll call him up. He already offered her up. And LeGrand and Mac are like, the fuck are you talking about? This is our sister. Because now Mac's like, that's my sister at this point. So Mac and LeGrand have like this internal dialogue with each other, kind of like, but like it's not said. But they both look at her and they're like, oh, the sister's name is Amelia. I can't say her name. And they're like, listen, we'll go back in the park. We will go sacrifice ourselves. Leave that little girl out of this. Ava's like, the fuck are you two talking about? Ava's like, let's get the fuck out of here. And they're like, listen, if you promise to have my little sister pulled out, you lie to my father, you lie to the prophet. And you say, listen, I'm going to take her as, a sacrifice. But I want you to put her in a home and take care of her and don't let anything ever happen to her. And we will make this sacrifice right now. Like, shake hands. We'll go back in there and let that thing eat us. If you, like, right now shake on that, you'll take care of her and not let anything bad happen to her. And Ava will be the witness since she's not a family member. And Linda's like, all right, blah, blah. And they also say that they are demanding that they give Ava the $50,000 award, but I don't think the money exists.
I don't think the money exists either. Everyone's supposed to die.
Yeah, I think everyone's supposed to die. No money exists.
Yeah, so at that point, ask for 200. Like, why would you listen? They have a fake 50.
Yeah, go up,
and they're clearly sacrificing to keep like the prosperity of the town and all this stuff.
And the wealth, yeah.
So you guys got wealth and prosperity.
Yeah. So they leave Linda. And
also, they're short one person, so they got to put Linda in there.
So they got to go back to the park, and Ava's upset. Ava's like, you guys are crazy. But they do immediately come up with a plan. And so Ava goes and finds one of the old generators from one of the rides, and she is pushing it back towards where LeGrand is standing at the fence. Not the fence, the gate, the original gate. And so she's like, we're going to push this the fuck over there. And so her and LeGrand are working that. And then Mac's job is to go find the beast and lure it to this thing. Yeah. Because they're going to blow this thing up. Right? They're going to set this thing aflame and try to kill the beast. So when Ava's setting up this giant generator, Linda shows up. She's on the other side of the gate. She walked up or drove. Oh, no, she has a RV. So that was like the whole thing. Linda be driving on this RV in her little Chanel suits. Very funny. So she shows up and she's like, she gets a gun and tries to shoot at Ava. But Ava, having training, hears the gun like, what's it called? Cocking. So she just ducks a little, like she ducks down behind the generator and Linda misses her. So they get into like a yelling match. And Linda's like, you guys are so stupid. You can't blow up this fucking beast. It's eternal. It's immortal. You're wasting your fucking time. And the whole time she's like holding the gun at Ava. And Ava's like, you know what? Shut the fuck up, bitch. Shoot me. I don't give a fuck. Like, I already did my part getting this thing here. When she shoots at her, turns out LeGrand was on the other side of like this little area they were standing. And he actually shot Linda in the shoulder. Because I forget, he stole a gun from Linda's purse at the house.
Oh, okay.
So like he had a gun. And so he shot Linda. And then Mac found the beast. And it's chasing her.
Yeah.
She's running through the park. There's like pages and pages of her running through the park. It's a whole montage. She's jumping through ponds. She's hurtling over rocks. She's getting caught in trees and bushes.
Yeah.
Okay, it's a whole thing. So she's running.
Meanwhile, there's a giant Baphomet chasing her.
Yeah, the giant Baphomet chasing her.
Giant Baphomet Minotaur monster.
Made of human bones.
Yeah.
And gore.
Okay.
And
where do you find these books?
I don't know. So as they can hear the running getting closer, Ava pops her shirt off. It's so
Titty time.
She has like gasoline, and she like soaks it in gasoline, pushes it into the tank of the generator, and screams at LeGrant to get behind the wall to avoid shrapnel. And they light it and they jump back there.
Yeah, because she knows how to make IEDs because she was in Iraq.
Yeah, dude. So Linda's outside of the gate, right? She's still alive. She just got shot in the shoulder. She's yelling at them, you fucking idiots. Like, she's just laughing, yelling. And so this thing fucking explodes, right? Shrapnel everywhere, big explosion, blah, blah, blah. Mac bursts through the trees with the thing following her. And they all run out of the destroyed gate. And Linda, again, is like, you can't fucking kill the thing. You can't kill it. It's immortal. And they're like, we're not trying to kill it. We're letting it out. And Linda then has the realization of what's really happening. And she's like, you can't let it out. It's going to hunt us forever. It's going to hunt the lineage. You won't see it coming. And Mac's like, who fucking cares? Nobody. And they all get in the car, drive away. Linda gets eaten. The end.
Yo. Decent ending. That's a decent ending.
Yeah.
That's actually a really good ending. I like that.
Yeah.
That's a good book.
Yeah. That's an actual quote. Who fucking cares? I was like, yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Also, if you open to the front page, there is a map of the actual place.
Yeah. She steps inside, and none of it mattered anyway. It never mattered. The open doors were a warning, but she was wrong about the message. Nothing had gotten in. Something had gotten out. Escaped.
Oh, I think that's the new book. They always put a new book at the end of the book.
Yeah, I was looking for the last line. I wanted to see it.
Yeah.
Hold on.
Hold on.
Yeah, no, you're right. The exact last sentence. With a shrug, Max stands and turns to the car. Who fucking cares? Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I mean, so one of the things that caught me is, the story of Theseus in the labyrinth.
Yeah.
And there's 14 sacrifices in that.
Yeah.
7 boys, 7 girls. Was a big part of that, and Theseus becomes one of them, and it's every 7 years was having to give it to the Minotaur. So there were some things they started putting together, especially with like 14 people, and then the way you described the foot thing, I was like,
yeah,
sounds a little Minotaur-y.
Yeah,
you made a big deal about being 2 legs. I was like, Minotaur-y.
Yep.
Also, just like the fact it's 2 every day, and then when the one guy said it's a maze,
yeah,
then I was like, oh, of course, the company's called like Ox,
yep,
because of oxen. And
yeah.
shit like that, and sacrifices. So I was like, all right. I did like putting it back together, though, by the end, when I was like, oh, because the whole reveal of, like, we built a big amusement park so we could invite our cousins to it to be eaten in the amusement park. I thought that was a neat reveal. And then the little girl going missing.
And the whole thing is that when the amusement parks open, like during that free week, nobody can see it but the people that can see it.
That are related.
And if they see it, it's too late.
Yeah.
So there's never a witness. Or if somebody was like Buzzcut Ava saw somebody get eaten, you're going to go tell the local PD you saw a person fly up, get ripped in half, and then disappear. Like, you're going to end up with a lobotomy in an asylum, my dude.
Yeah, exactly.
So...
Exactly. No, it's pretty cool. I think
the whole thing about the spa, which I didn't really get into, is they had to like cleanse them and bless them. Yeah, they had to cleanse and bless them before that.
That was a part of ritual sacrifices, especially in like Greco-Roman times and stuff like that. So cool.
What do you think? What are we thinking of this book? You like this book? You like the ending of this book?
I like the book. I think we could have cut about 7 of the sacrifices. I think we could have gotten it down. I mean, I understand why they did it the way they did, but I think we could have montaged a few of them.
Yeah.
Definitely could have gotten that down a little bit. I liked. I thought there might be something in the line of that one movie Cabin in the Woods.
Yeah.
In Cabin in the Woods, they're archetypes. They don't all have to be related.
Yeah.
So the idea of like one person being a fitness person and one person being a Instagram model, like all these people filling a specific archetype would have been interesting.
Well, I think that the archetype that I didn't maybe go into a lot because Linda is a hard character to describe, like everything that she's like, a lot of what Linda's talking about is like, she considers all of the people that she puts into these games to be the prunings, the extras, the people that don't matter in the family.
Yeah, because they're distant cousins.
Well, it's not about how distant they are. It's that they're worthless.
Oh.
And so for her, an Instagram model, a CrossFit guy, an intern, a writer, these are worthless dregs of society. These are lazy, good-for-nothings. And so for her and the families, they're looking at like they have high-powered lawyers and doctors and millionaires and billionaires.
Yeah.
And so they're like, an Instagram model? What the fuck do we care?
So
like they are the dregs to the families.
The other thing too, it's funny because as you were describing Linda at the beginning, I was picturing Sigourney Weaver's character from the end of Cabin in the Woods. Because like she's in that like Hillary Clinton suit, like she's doing the whole thing. She's explaining it to it. It's corporate, the way she's getting rid of them. Like that's exactly who I was picturing.
Exactly, yeah.
So it's very funny that's how that all kind of ties together. It's very that,
just a little bit older.
Yeah.
But yeah, oh God, Sigourney Weaver and everything.
So
before we end this book club, where are you putting this on the tier of the book so far?
We've done so many that I don't even remember all of them.
Well, there was Blood Train. Better or worse than Blood Train?
They're almost equal.
Okay.
I think, because here's the thing. This book gets huge bonus points by having multiple characters not be fucking idiots. Right?
Yeah.
This book does something actually the closest I've seen to the movie Get Out.
Yeah.
Which is almost everyone involved seems to know what is actually going on.
Yeah.
Or like their reaction when they don't have the full story makes sense, which I really, really like. Yeah. Like once they realize, we're being chased by a giant minotaur and a labyrinth and we're being sacrificed, totally different mindset than we're playing a weird reality game.
Yeah.
There's something off about this really weird reality TV show game, like, all this different stuff. So I thought that was really, really interesting. I think that there was a couple things in there because like the one thing that didn't make sense to me, right, is like the one guy when Brandon dies, right?
Yeah, R.I.P. Brandon.
Like, so when Brandon dies, they're gonna have to still put another one in there to finish feeding the beast.
Yeah,
and they have to feed the beast 14 people over 7 days.
Yeah.
So do they have backups?
Oh, Linda does have backups.
Okay, she just has some
around.
Linda
has backups that are like, she brings them in for like diner employees or like, so like she
has some around in case she has some in
town. Like in town, there are like janitors that she is like willing to use. Because again, Linda's a terrible person.
Yeah.
But it is described that Linda does have backups prepared at all times.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's cool.
Yeah. Not cool.
Linda. I'm talking about from the writer's perspective. Yeah. The writer really did it. It feels like they filled out a lot of different things. I thought the whole hide and seek PTSD thing a little much. Yeah. I understand need to put in there for some flavor.
Yeah.
But did feel a little much.
I think it was an interesting touch to have someone who's like their whole life experience is based on the game of hide and seek. And that, like, not the whole, but like such a big part of it.
I know. It feels.
It was very funny to be like, oh.
Yeah, it just feels.
Also, you got that moment where LeGrand is like, "What's a podcast?"
That's a great moment.
It's all for that whole moment is worth it.
No,
honestly.
but that's really good. There was a few small things here and there that I thought was really good.
I would say also, as the person who just read the book and then wrote the notes and just described it to Alex. I did miss a lot. There's a lot of content in this book. It is a thin book, but it was filled with information. So
it felt that way because there was times where I was like, "What about?" And you're like, "We gotta
pass through it. We gotta pass through." So like, if you like the sound of this, I would really recommend reading it. Because it is a really fun read. It was pretty quick, too.
And she clearly has another book in here.
Yeah, what's the other book called?
It was called Mr. Magic.
Mr. Magic?
Which, at least the end of, and so, dear friends, at long last, it's magic time.
Oh.
That's how the free little extra on here comes out.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's pretty good. Yeah. I think I really enjoyed this.
Yeah.
I think Keirsten White, you got a lot of really good things coming. And
So you heard it here first. This is the first book that Alex has.
I
not
would
only-
recommend people.
not only not hated, but is recommending that you read if you enjoyed it.
You know what? Honestly, what I think this really deserves.
What?
This deserves a 7-episode maxi series.
Yeah. Oh my God, it would be so good.
This would be really good for a 7-episode
yeah.
series.
If we had Netflix, I'd watch it on Netflix.
I wouldn't watch it on Netflix because I want it to be good.
Oh.
But like maybe Apple TV.
Yeah. Big money. Big money.
Yeah. No, I
You
think
need to have good special effects.
it's not like
Because when that monster comes out, I want to be scared by that monster.
Well, here's the thing. I either want to be scared or I want
Yeah.
it to look stupid. There's kind of
Yeah,
no middle.
no in between.
Because the way when you were describing it, the way I pictured like a 15 to 20 foot tall monster. Like I'm picturing when they had the swings fully extended.
Yeah.
Like it has to be able to reach up there. It has to be able to reach every part. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like has to be able to reach the top of a
Who's going
Ferris
to play
wheel.
Brandon?
Brandon?
Yeah, in our Apple series.
No, he would have to be a newer on the block, likable actor.
Oh.
But here's the thing. So like Jaden has to be an asshole. But he would have to have that sort of high school football jock who did not go on to play Division 1.
Yeah.
But like
Went to college for sports, but then ended up having to become a real estate agent.
went to college for sports medicine.
Ooh. All right.
Yeah. That type
Okay,
of feel.
I need Buzzcut Ava to be played by Robin Tooney. She is the chick from Empire Records who had a buzz cut. She's going to be a little older now, but I still think
because she's a veteran.
Yeah, she's a veteran.
She's a veteran.
Max, I don't know who's going to play Max.
I think Matt could be played by a lot of different people. Again, I think that's a matter of whether or not
Zendaya.
No,
Yes.
I feel like she needs to have a crazier
We
look
need
in her
big
eye.
names.
No,
we need crazier.
I think she needs to have. That's the thing is like that's why I wouldn't mind since this at the beginning would be such an ensemble piece.
Yeah.
You could still have Mac be like the semi-main character.
Oh, you know who would be a good Mac? The chick from Game of Thrones who stabbed him at the end.
Oh, the girl played Arya Stark.
Arya Stark girl.
Yeah.
Because she got good eyes. She got good eyes.
She
that could
did.
look
You know what?
crazy.
Honestly, she did when she was playing the assassin.
Yeah.
She'd be good at that.
Yeah.
I'd give her that.
She could be real sneaky because she's
Yeah, and I
little.
always felt bad because, like, you know, that last season of Game of Thrones was such shit.
Don't ever talk about that last season. of Game
Yeah,
of
it
Thrones.
was so bad, but like, you know, she doesn't. And nobody. A lot of those Game of Thrones people, like, they don't want to touch them after that. It wasn't
Yeah.
their fault.
It wasn't their fault.
They weren't the showrunners.
That was badass writing at the end there.
Yeah.
So anyway, that's our book club episode for this week. We did it.
Yeah.
I read a book. You listened to the book.
I did.
And you are not as upset as you usually are. So this is a win.
I'm gonna give this book. This is gonna get the Pearlmania 9 out of 10.
All right.
That's the highest I'll ever go.
Yeah. Okay.
9 out of 10.
Thank you everyone for listening, and make sure to support your local libraries and go get your library card. You can usually do it online and have it mailed to your house. And there's lots of free stuff. And also, if you're like a work from home person like me, don't go to those WeWork places and pay money to go sit in a fake office. Just go to the library.
Yeah, they
You
have
can-
little cubicle
They
areas.
have cubicle business areas, and there's people there with master's degrees
Who can help
in
you with
library
stuff.
studies that can
Yeah.
help you. And it's way better than WeWork. And you're supporting pretty much the only free service that exists in the world at this point in time.
Yep, and also you're already paying for it through your taxes.
Yay!
So you're being dumb by not taking advantage of it. In fact, you're leaving money on the table. Speaking of money on the table, though, we want to thank all of our Patreons as always. We want to thank all of our sponsors and all those new advertisements we have coming through here. We enjoy you guys every single week, and there will be a new episode this Sunday. And as we said before, if you are a Patreon, you can go vote on Mrs. Pearlmania's poll topics now.
Yeah, they're
Mrs.
weird.
Pearlmania, any last things you want to say?
Nothing. I liked the book. It was a fun time.
There we go. This has been Mrs. Pearlmania's Book Club, Part 7, I believe.
I think so.